Come on, Joe. Yeah, that apple pie joke is not getting old. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Dang Options. And I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. Yo, salutations right back at you, Skull. I see you, sir. We got the Fiddleback, Flow Grade, Cristobal, we got Joseph, we got Adara, we got Black Hawk JP. Jerome Powell, is that you? You're Mr. Too Late, bro. Shout out to the OG Darwin and the world's greatest mod, Bears versus Bulls. All right, there we go. Now they're coming in, baby. All right, ATX Trader, why not? We got Charlie Taff, Cigar Attache, and City Boy 305, Vern, Brandon, Sports and Stonks, and Alex. Shout out to Covalence and Alvaro Mario Sosa. We got Monty G. We got Gorev, the OG. Malcat? Malecat. Oh, Malecat. My bad. Eric, something or another. We got Rishi. We got Jimmy, Franco, and Oleg. Get it, Oleg. We got Bart Simpson and the Piper, the OG Minnesota trader, Roger Noonan. We got Psyop. Sorry for doing that to your name. I just got excited. Bora Hut. What else we got? Anu View, Mr. Future Rivian Millionaire. He's dropping that cash, soon to be billionaire. Andrew Soundoval, Ms. Lucia, I do apologize about that. Robert Woods. Who else we got, man? We got Jules, Johnny H, Psyops, Havana, frickin' Woody. One more, Joseph. Pete Rock. Shout out to everybody, man. I missed you guys yesterday, but we're back today. We're doing it live, and the market is more my kind of market today than yesterday's market. But I'm just a bull, Joseph. I don't know. I can't.
Oh yeah, Perma. I guess Perma. You can call me there, guys. Well, what a nice move here on NVDA, and what a beautiful Tuesday, guys. Can't wait to get back outside and start hitting these runs and hitting the outdoor gym. So that's what's going to be going down this evening. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters right now, Sharif, is what's going on in these markets. Let's pull up my screen here, guys, so we can see what we have going on. So this is what we were trading this morning. This is NVDA. I wish I took one more stab at it, but I said to Sharif on the side, like, unless something is A++ setup, I might just transfer over to the sim account and just lock in these daily profits, because we don't know what's going on. But NVDA putting in a beautiful day, up 2.4% on the session. This was another really good entry, guys, but let's go over the trade to see what we got going on. Entry one, we take small out, we wait for that pullback, we then reload everything back here, guys, and then we just slowly partial out. And then once that channel was broken, you can see we'll just draw it right here. Once that channel broke to the downside, I'm at a dodge. It held it. Oops, we don't want that. Once it held that channel break, then boom, we got out of that trade. Yeah, so there we go. But now starting to climb higher is NVDA, but that is good for the swing account, because I told you guys, I said, hey, let's talk about it right now before we go over to Adara. I didn't get it in my ear yet, so once I do, then we'll go over these swing trades that I got cooking up right after we get back from Adara.
So I want to give you guys a little bit of an update, or a prequel, a prelude, I can't think of the right word here, for what we're going to see in today's session. And actually Donald Trump on watch. There's only two events in his calendar. I think they're both really worth noting, so I'm going to go over both of them. One of them happens at 1 p.m. and it's actually not Trump. It's his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. She will be doing her weekly press briefing here at the White House at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will be covering that for you all. And this often can result in some comments about tariffs, sometimes market moving, sometimes not. But either way, definitely something to watch if you want to see a good sense of the state of things. I'll be watching. I'll be providing live coverage right here from this desk. Now, at 4 p.m., I'll be listening to this during the market recap, though there, of course, will be a lot going on with Tesla earnings. But this is pretty interesting, this event, if you are a crypto person, because President Trump will be participating in the swearing-in ceremony for the new chairman of the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission. That individual goes by the name of Paul Atkins, and he is considered to be a positive choice for the crypto space. Though it's worth noting, Gary Gensler, former SEC chair, was also considered to be a positive crypto choice at the time, and that ended up, of course, not working out how people wanted it to. So something to be aware of. Either way, watch crypto at 4 p.m. when we get the swearing in of Mr. Atkins. Back to you.
I know he said he's pointing at you all the time. We have a screen in front of us, so when we're pointing at, he's pointing at. I think you've displeased him, Joseph.
No. It's more like my guy. my guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, let's go on what we got cooking up here from a swing standpoint, guys, because we talk about this quite often. So NVDA, I told you guys I started to buy some. Average price not that good, but we're starting to climb up 2.5%. That's fantastic. Still a little bit out of the money on this trade, but that's okay. We're gonna hold on to this a little bit longer because I do believe that we can at least get back to that break even, maybe climb a little bit higher. But what I do want to reference a little bit more here, guys, is this trade. And I grabbed some more in the long term this morning, and I was grabbing more throughout the break of this trend. This is going to be around $46, $47 here in IBIT. And once we crack the backside of this trend, this downtrend, this is when I started to grab some nice amount of shares here in the swing account. And then now you can see we're starting to climb higher and higher. We had quite a bit of open interest at 51, so I thought that was going to be a hedge, but we are now north of that. That is going to be a positive sign. You can see that we have some key overhead resistance at 91,000. So if we can break through that and we can climb higher, but you know what that is also good looking for there, Sharif?
What?
Your bet. Because if we continue on this path here, on this trajectory, I believe by your birthday, we could pass 100,000. That's if we continue on this path. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but right now it's looking really, really good in Bitcoin. And most definitely, I love that.
Well, I love it too, bro. I'm not going to pretend like I want to fork over money to you on my birthday. I was definitely not looking forward to that. But such is the bet, and we got to deal with it, Joseph. So that's the way it is, baby.
We got to pay dues here, man.
We got to pay dues. Well said. All right, guys, here's the deal. There's a whole bunch of small cap gappers that are all moving, so let's get right to it. SXTC, the best, the brightest. The best one of them all right? 150% in the clear right now. It is a wide range per candle. If you don't know what that is, it means that on the chart that you're executing on, the range, the amount of notional move per candle is quite wide. That has to be accounted for in how you trade this. Position sizing, stop loss placement, profit taking, all has to account for that big wide range per candle that we've got right now in SXTC. It's up 147%. Breaking through that $2.50 area with the high of the day, 258. Getting a little extended, though, from that 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So I'm going to wait for it to come back in a little bit before I get involved with this one. I'd like it somewhere around, if we can get like a 215, 210 retracement, I think that might be a good flat top break attempt. That's my thinking here. SXTC is the one I'm talking about. That's number one gapper right now. I'm also involved in, where's Tisha at, man? Like, just when you need Tisha in the chat, she's a small cap gapper trader, this, that, and the other. And then we got a ticker here that's very similar to her name, TSHA. Another really good one. I'm involved in it right now. We're along 73s, looking at wetting the beak here at 75s, and then I've layered my orders to the high side there. TSHA looks like it's both lagging, finding support off that the volume weighted average price. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. So TSHA, SXTC, the best of the bunch right now. But there's a couple of holdovers that we have from last week. Hertz. This thing's been rocketing up ever since your boy Ackman there disclosed his position, initially hiding his position. Maybe we'll get more into that later. But this one putting a plethora of higher highs and higher lows. Just took out that not pre-market high, that 940 high that we had at 920. That's gone. It's now a 930 high as we break through that with a new 5-minute candle. We'll make a new high. I'm talking about HTZ, WULF. Yeah, he's wetting that beak, baby. He's already in profit world over there. WULF, Joseph, 16 2/3. Very, very respectful of the volume weighted average price on whatever time frame, because it's always the same. That white line on my chart, that's a volume weighted average price. You can see all the dips into that level have been bought up. We're still putting in that 264 HOD right now on WULF. I have ICCT over here, okay? And I have it over here despite the fact that it did this topping tail candle, lost VWAP and every other support level I could glean. For whatever reason, found support at the $0.50, and now it's finding its way right back above that volume weighted average price. But to be expected is that 320 sell level. That's what we closed out at initially. even though we did wick up into 357. So a good look here for ICCT. If it can stay above VWAP, this one will definitely be on my list of tradable names. Bull, BULL, is losing the volume weighted average price. WNW is trying to break down right now, and we've mentioned all the other ones. So those are the 8 that I'm keeping on the side chart for now. We'll have to see exactly how this all plays out, but super interested in executing on these bunch. So looking at Tisha over here, TSHA, we're still rejecting that 75 penny area. I do have an order to take some out at 75. That still hasn't triggered, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Now, I did get short Meta, okay? I got short Meta and I already got stopped out, but let me make my case for this one. I might get back in. So Meta, we rejected this 494 and 3/4, 494 and a half. Initially on that pop-up, we have a double top there from earlier in the day at 10 and 10:05 and 10:10. It's clearing that level right now. It is making a new high a day. It's into 493 and at 4, that's the current high. If it loses this level and starts putting in lower lows, I'm going to get short Meta. Obviously, we've been talking about, the little saga with the FTC lately, with Meta right now facing the wrath of the government. And it's not a good look so far. It's been selling off ever since the start of the trial. So I think we're a week and a week and like a day deep into this trial right now. So META been all sorts of weak, guys. We're almost $300 off that high that we put in, I think, like a month or two ago. So a lot of weakness in that name. If I can take advantage of it, I certainly will. We're getting multiple prints right now on Tisha. Shout out to Tisha in the chat. I know she's not trading this right now, but we're going to shout her out anyway. Adira, what is going on up there?
What's going on, Sharif, is we have a Trump Truth Social post. This isn't necessarily one that's market moving, but I think it's one to be aware of nonetheless because he talks a little bit about trade here. So we did hear some rumblings that Donald Trump was set to speak to the Prime Minister of Israel today. So we did have some comments here. He was supposed to be speaking with the Prime Minister of Israel today. He confirmed about 5 minutes ago on Truth Social that he did speak to Netanyahu of Israel about, he said, numerous subjects, including trade, Iran, etc. So the trade aspect of this is, of course, really interesting with regards to tariffs. The other aspect that is interesting is Iran. We know geopolitical elements can and will move this market. So keep an eye out here in case there is any potential ceasefire or deal announcement. Geopolitical tensions are going to be on watch here. Donald Trump saying that he's spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel about not one, but 2 market-moving or potentially market-moving topics. It's also worth noting here, stay tuned on X at TTV Research. I am working on an infographic compiling all of Trump's Truth Social mentions of the Federal Reserve, specifically Fed Chair Jerome Powell, since the start of this year. All of the research is done. You can stay tuned for that, hopefully pretty shortly. Back to you.
Guys, please refresh the stream. If you're having trouble with the audio right now, a quick refresh. It should be good. We just tried it on our end. I think a lot of people are reporting that in the chat as well.
Yeah, a lot of people reporting that as well too, guys. So just hit that refresh button. Make sure you tune right back in because there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I understand the fact that we are up about 3% on the day, but that's nothing to get overly giddy about, I don't believe, here, guys. So let's see exactly 2.6%. If we were to look at this from a daily perspective, I mean, it's not a bad thing. We're going to take a 3% positive day instead of continuing to the downside, in my opinion. But let's see what we got going on. We're just starting to fill this gap, right? So you can see that we climbed higher. So that's a nice move. We gapped down yesterday, and then now that we've essentially filled that gap. So that is a really good trade. And this is something that I need to really get back to, because if we're going to look at the market and see how all these gaps are being filled, you can see every single gap down day is eventually filled at some point. So there is a system that I have built based off of this, and you can just see it from a lot of these gap downs. Everyone is filled essentially. So that's a good look. You get this nice big gap down here. You fill it to the top side, same thing. You get the additional gap down day, and then eventually once it breaches to the top side, you can see that it just continuously fills and then fills both of these here. And then you can see here, we got a nice hammer doji as well, and then we filled this gap on the daily. So this one might be next. And even though it is a small one, but I do believe that all gaps do eventually get filled on the daily. All right, so yeah, that's the look here in the Qs. A good session, but you can still see that we're down a hefty amount here, guys. Yeah, but it's good. 17%, we'll take it. But some of the other bigger names are still down quite a bit here, Sharif, and that's going to be the likes of Meta. We know they got the antitrust going on. So again, it's same thing with Google, right? When the market was starting to rally, kind of similar price action, but down 32%. So that's not a positive sign here for Meta, but I do believe eventually, I don't know when it will blow over. But one thing I do want to talk about, I know Sharif and Brando and the guys this morning were talking about it, but that is Tesla. And it's kind of a mixed bag. Some people believe that it's going to dump, some people believe that it's going to rally, and that's totally fine. That's what trading is. So what do I do, right? I just obviously I want to see what the chain is telling me. What is the options chain telling me? It is also an indicator, right? So I don't see anything, and maybe my issue is that the fact that I'm trying to compare it to the likes of NVDA when I see massive call and put walls at a specific strike price, but I'm not seeing that right now. So what is that telling me? I'm only seeing high levels of OI at that $300 strike price. Are we going to climb all the way up there? I absolutely have no idea. But as of right now, there is nothing from an overhead standpoint that says we are not going any higher than this. And I'm just comparing it to the likes of what I've seen before in some of these larger mega cap tech names. Now, if you were to pull up Apple and look at 210, and they're not even reporting this evening, but if you go to Apple and look at 210, significantly more open interest at that specific strike price. But I'm not seeing anything that is like, Joe, we are not going higher than that. There is some high levels around 250. We got about 10,000. And then at 260, we got about 15,000. But to me, that's just not enough to say, hey, we're stopping here. It's going to halt and we're not going to go any higher. So I'm curious to what you guys think about Tesla. Is it going to pump or dump on this earnings report? Because I think it's going to be very interesting here, Sharif.
That's really interesting, bro. I mean, I love how you bring the options aspect to it, give us a completely different view there. So shout out to Joseph Wilson for that look there. All right, guys, we just weaseled into a new trade. I'm going by the ticker here, ICCT. We wet the beak on TSHA a couple times, still waiting for that 177 break on TSHA. But while that zigs and zags or whatever the hell it does, bobs and weaves, we're involved right now with ICCT. So I got long sixes, wet the beak at 11s. I'm waiting at 15s. It just popped up to 15s. It didn't cross though, hence why we don't have the fill. So let's go ahead and layer those orders to see if we can catch a nice move up. So ICCT has a bit of an interesting kind of setup right now. I was worried this might manifest into a double top, and I'm still worried about that. Just because you cleared that 315 level by a couple of shekels doesn't mean we're out of the water. So I have my stop on this one at 288. Pardon me. The reason I have it around there, number one, if it gets down into 288, it's lost the 10 exponential, it's lost VWAP, and then it's no longer tradable under my system. So I like my stop there, but we'll wait and see whether this one holds a level or not. Couple of shekels in the money. This is TSHA. I've also set up a dip trade here on SXTC. So this current candle, believe it or not, the current 5-minute candle that we're on, the 1120 candle, is actually a bullish engulfing candle because it's still above the previous area high and it's just about to take out the previous high. So I set up a dip trade on this one at around 215, thinking this might come back in and test the volume weighted average price or the 10 exponential, and it gave me a gesture that I don't find quite flattering over here. 274 high a day. It's really getting away from me right now. I was anticipating a deeper retracement. I didn't even get close to one. So this one's really going. It's got basically the last 3 candles right now. Each and every candle has a higher low than its predecessor with that 274, 276 now. 277. This one keeps printing new highs as we speak. It's already a triple-digit winner, up 169%. How high we can go, we'll have to wait and see. We can do a little bit of TA, technical analysis, on the daily in a minute once things slow down. But SXTC, I don't think this dip trade is valid at all right now, and I'm really going to have to think about how I'm going to get back in. That 220 area is still interesting, 215 to 220. If I want to get even more aggressive, that 2.25, that's where the 10 exponential is. But something tells me by the time this one drops down to that 2.25, the 10 exponential won't be at 2.25. It'll be likely at 2.33 or some other higher level. So SXTC definitely in play. How I punch in and how I work in is eluding me at the moment. So we'll pack our patience there. Back to ICCT. Right back above it goes after dipping into the 10 exponential and the volume weighted average price, which are, funny enough, both at the same level right now, and they're both intersecting VWAP and the 10 EMA that is at the $3 level. So even more support. You got the 10, You got VWAP. You got the whole dollar level, all kind of jiving together to kind of give you support at $3. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not I can get a print to the high side there. Still waiting at 15s, Joseph.
Yeah, good luck there too, NY. I see what you're saying there in the chat, my friend. Are you referring to Heikinashi candles? Because I remember that they were quite popular for some time, and they're very interesting. Did you ever use Heikinashi?
Absolutely not. No, I used point and figure for a little bit. But
did you use point and figure? Yeah, I mean, they're really interesting. For those who don't know about them, I mean, I never use them personally, but I know those who do use them like them because it kind of voids out some of the noise, right? So it's either a straight trend until that trend's broken. I'm pretty sure that the candle doesn't change until then. So it'll just be consistently green or red. And then once it's broken, then you'll see the change within those candles. But I know a lot of traders that use those Heikinashis, and I'm curious if that's what you're using for. Yeah, they rock for options, says DEFCON 1. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never personally used them. I've never really intraday traded options, right? I prefer to use them in a swing, right? Because they are a leveraged product. Okay. So yeah, very interesting stuff. I know a lot of traders that do use them, but yeah, good luck there. DEFCON John 1, sorry, and 2NY. That is exactly what he's referring to, and he's liking them as well too. So I'm glad that that's working out for you. Let's be patient here, guys, and see what we got going on. It's good to see that NVDA is up about 2%. I really like that, and Bitcoin just continuing to climb higher, tapping into 52. And I mean, the all-time high on IBIT is around $61. So not too far off of that. I do believe that we can continue to climb. I do like that we're sitting on the backside of this trend. So hopefully this can be sustained and we can just continue to climb higher. Robert Woods says Heikinashi on a tick chart. Very cool. I like Fibonacci's. Okay, that's a little bit different. 1320 Wolf. I'm actually referring to the candle prints themselves. But yeah, 0 TEs can eat your lunch with theta. Yeah, no, but I wouldn't even trade. Like if I were to intraday trade them, I wouldn't even pay any mind to 0 DTs. I would definitely go a little bit further out because that's just my style, right? I like to buy. I don't want to have to worry about time, and I think that's one thing. Again, it's a positive thing for trading options because you can essentially leverage what your system is and then still buy the time, so it can be used for like an equity essentially, and not necessarily. And that's one thing. Like when you're first trading options, just buy more time, and then when you get more comfortable, then you can start decreasing it, and when your plans start to work out, that's when you can start to add relatively heavy, and that's exactly what we did, man. We had a nice trade on Amazon not too long ago, and people in the chat were asking me like, hey Joe, do you usually spread when you buy? No, I'll start with the spread, but I'll always ratio it, so I'll go with an imbalance, right, of short to long, and that way you can still maximize the full potential move, and then once the trade starts to work, you can eliminate the short calls, etc., or you can just add to your long position as well too. So that's what I'm looking for. I do believe, I do like that NVDA is up 2%. Gold is starting to pull back. Yeah, Sharif and I were talking this morning. It put in a new all-time high, but it's just like gap up after gap up. So it's just like, okay, at what point are we going to start to pull back? And today might be the day here, Sharif, where we start to come back in towards some of these levels here, but looking really, really good. I was looking at gold back here. I was telling you you guys this yesterday at 261. I was thinking about buying some of GLD to be exact, but that ship has sailed. Is the trade completely over? But I think we need to be more patient to get involved. You don't want to be chasing it all the way up here. So yeah, let's go to Adara, guys.
Viewer of META here. We knew we had this drop earlier. No news at the time. Now we're seeing here some commentary from analysts at MoffettNathanson, which is of course an analysis firm here. They're saying that Meta could be facing a $7 billion lost revenue here from China this year because of tariffs. Meta does not operate its services in China, but advertisers from the country do buy ads on the platform. So Meta could risk up to $7 billion in revenue should these tariffs continue because of advertisers in China who buy ads on Meta's platform. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Yeah, what do you got cooking up there, Sharif?
We're doing well. We're doing it live here, Joseph. ICCT, what a beauty, bro. Right into VWAP. We pick it up at 6s. Just wet the beak there at 26s. Now I'm waiting at 33s. This one just got crazy. The book was dormant. It was tame. Then something went wild with it. Probably an algo got turned on. I don't care. All right? I'm just going to look to trade it technically. Get it, Adara. All right, so we're going to look for that 333 next area print right now, up 69% at the moment. We'll pack our patience with this one. Anything now. My previous stop was 288. Now it goes above 3. So we're moving up that stop a couple of shekels. And by a couple of shekels, I'm like talking 12 pennies. TSHA, we're continuing to do well on this one. That's not giving you much of a notional move, but it's giving you a good technical move. TSHA. We're long 73s, just with the beak there at 78s. Now I'm waiting at 80s. Let's pack our patience here. This one's up 21%. Sorry, guys. Not the biggest percentage winner on the day, but a technically sound trade. This is the one I'm really lamenting not having punched into. But I'm trying to execute in the way that I best see how with these small cap gappers, which is tough. I set up something at 215, trying to front run what I perceive to be a flat top break at 2. It didn't have that at all. It keeps going and going. Last time we were talking to you guys about this when we were about 240 or 250. It's worked its way up now to a high a day at 290, currently trading at double sevens. So we'll see how this one ends up doing. It's up 171% on the day. Again, I'm not going to chase this one, but it does look like it is bound to break that $3 area. If it doesn't break 3 directly from here and it comes back down, where am I buying it at? Well, I'm buying it at the 10 exponential, but I'm going to front run the 10 exponential. So currently the 10 EMA, 10 exponential moving average on the 5. I know we have newer viewers, so don't mind me if I keep repeating that long phrase. I have to because nobody really knows what the hell the 10 EMA is if you haven't been trading for a while. So 240 is where it is. The 10 exponential moving average on the 5 is at $2.40. I will buy it at $2.50 if it'll have me. So let's try this. It's had a big boy move up already. I'm getting in small size here, okay? Because I'm picking it up on a bit of an aggressive downturn. It just was in 290. Now it's down into 2 high 50s. Let's see if it can work its way down into that 10 exponential moving average on the 5. I'm a buyer for it at that level, and then come what may, all right? Where my out is on this one is a definite out below 220, not a random area. $2.20 is currently the volume-weighted average price. If this loses VWAP, I want nothing to do with it until it can regain it. So that's my thinking. I'm talking about SXTC. We're still involved in TISHA, and we're still involved in ICCT. ICCT continues to put in higher lows. We've been doing that since this candle over here. When we put in, this is the 5-minute chart, by the way, on ICCT. So since 11:10, we've been putting in higher lows. So a pattern that's lasted now about 20 minutes or so does seem to have a technical area of resistance at around the $0.25. We saw that initially at around 9:45, 10 o'clock. It rejected that area. And then even though we wicked up and closed above it, technically on the 5, going into that $2.33 area, you can see that in reality, we are still having trouble staying above that $0.25. Whether we can wick up there or not, that's not the point. The point is to stay above there so we can continue to take prints. So ICCT trading at $3.20. I'm looking at 333 for the next peak weather. There it goes to a quarter again and being met with selling. Look at that. That's several times now. It works up into that $0.25 only to be met with selling. And nothing really substantially posted on the level 2. You have a cursory view of that level at 25. There's maybe 100 lots there. So you know for a fact that there's a hidden seller of note around there. Whether or not we can shake them, an entirely different story, or her or whoever. All right, so we're going to keep an eye out on that. ICCT in focus for me. Now, as I mentioned, Hertz, HTZ, continuing to be in play. And very respectful is Hertz of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Essentially, even when it was trading below VWAP. Take a gander at this. A big boy move up right at that 930. We retrace. Fine, that's normal. We lose VWAP. Maybe that would have, put me off on it. But having a look ex post facto at the amount of holdups this has cannot be some coincidence. This is obviously an algo trading HTZ off the 10 EMA. If you're a newer viewer, the 10 EMA on my black charts will always be that solid green line. Look at that absolute defense of the 10 exponential moving average on HTZ. A move into 910, 912, something like that. That's where the 10 exponential is right now on my chart. If I can get something in that, I'd be pleased as dang punch, but we'll have to pack our patience. Goodness gracious, bro. SXTC is going to take out $3. So it just dipped down aggressively into the high 50s. I'm like, oh, great. Now we're going to get that 10 exponential retracement. Wrong. Here we go. It just printed a new high day, $2.92, $2.94 now, Joseph. This thing is on one, baby. It's breaking up big. All right, we got stopped at the remaining amount on ICCT as it lost that $3 level, so we'll give back 6 pennies on the remaining amount on ICCT. So keep an eye on that and make sure you use stops. There's an out, 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 and then we give back a little bit there. Still keeping my eye, though, Joseph, on TSHA. It's the only one I've got on now.
Yeah, good look there, guys. All right, I see Dai-Win talking, or Doi-Win, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Again, nice look here on Amazon. I was looking at it on my other charts here, and you can see we have some nice distinctive topping tails and a parabolic trend. So we're looking for that move back towards the volume weighted average price. But this is essentially what I was looking to short off of here. But that ship sailed and I missed that there. So yeah, Smoky Love, let's go. So now I'm waiting for a pullback. That's what I want to do. I don't want to chase it all the way down there because it'll just skew my risk to reward. And I'm going to be really precise with my entries. I told you guys what my plan was, is that I'm going to finish every day of this week green. So that's the game plan. And I want to stick with that and just be like more of a sniper like my style. So here we go. I'm going to wait for this pullback, retest of the backside of this trend line here, and then try to move back towards the volume weighted average price. But it's really starting to move to the downside. So hopefully that ship hasn't sailed just yet. We're going to be patient and wait for it. I do believe it can come into play because we do have some large volume prints here and some indecision at the top of that, which is a really, really key signal. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out, but it looks like it's done the move that I was looking for right now. So unfortunately that we missed out on that one. So slightly gun shy, got to be a little bit more aggressive because once we crack this here, 173.77, then I think that trade comes really into play because you have a double signal right there with those heightened volume signatures. So really, really good look on that front there on Amazon and for Dai-Win, who called that one out earlier. So Ken, NVIDIA moving more like sideways instead of with the market. Is it because of the call options at 100? I think there's just a lot of tailwinds. We reported this yesterday as well too with Huawei. They're coming out with that with a chip that they're going to start shipping next month. That's going to compete with the H20. And I like a point that Katina Man made. We're going to touch on that right after we get back from Madeira.
Keep an eye here on Apple and Meta. Apparently, the EU might be issuing its first DMA or Digital Market Act fines against the companies tomorrow. So this is reported by Handelsblatt, which is a European publication. Basically, EU reportedly looking to potentially issue its first fines under the Digital Markets Act against Apple and Meta. That'll be happening potentially tomorrow. Back to you.
That's the sickest setup they've got there in the EU, bro. Go broke, just charge American companies. They got the money, bro. Come on now. Come on now. Get it together. Even Donald told them, he's like, stop fining our companies or it's going to affect tariffs. But I think that kind of threat is running a little hollow now that the tariff threat's gotten a little...
That's a very valid point there. I didn't even look at it like that. So yeah, you run out of money, charge the big boys across the pond, and then maybe you can start to fill the bank.
Just over-regulate their companies. Their companies make no money, and then they go after the companies that do make money, and they wonder why. Well, I wonder why they're making money. Sorry guys, I just got to go on my daily rant. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. This move to the downside here on Amazon Street doesn't seem like it wants to slow down. So we might not get that backside of the trend test. As you can see, the momentum starting to head towards the volume weighted average price. So we got to continue to wait, but I do believe that this trade has now passed us. So going to keep our eyes on some other moves here. We are slightly extended from VWAP, and I'm going to use this as kind of my gauge right now. If we can continue this extension and we go another leg higher, that's when I'm going to start looking for those topping tail signals north of that 526 and the 445 here on the Qs and on the SPY. So going to be really, really patient. Going to wait for those precision entries. NVDA was a nice trade earlier today. Even though Bitcoin was my number one, I heard Neil was talking about that, but just with how strong it was, and I seen that we climbed a little bit higher in the post market as well too. So I wanted to stick with those strong names, but we got a nice move here in NVDA and we're going to wait for this pullback in IBIT, and hopefully we can find an entry and put in a new high because we are strong in the crypto space today, Sharif.
Nice look there, Joseph. This one just won't let me in, man. I keep trying to get into SXTC. I moved up the order a little bit. This current 5-minute candle does have a higher low, so that trend continues intact. It keeps putting in those higher lows. Not necessarily, though, a higher high in this current 5-minute candle that's actually red, believe it or not, because it did open up a little bit high at that 291, 292 area is where it opened up. So I'm trying to pack my patience here for a move back into the 10 exponential. I'm still looking to front run the 10 exponential, which is now at 251, but that's really not the move anymore, right? I was trying to front run it at 250s when it was at 240s. So let's move up a little bit more. We'll move it up just actually now that it's putting in a lower high. So maybe I'll pack my patience on this one. Maybe this one has VWAP destined to be the level where I get in, which is currently at around 2.25. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Here's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in very small size at the 10 exponential. Okay. If it loses the 10 exponential, I won't DCA into that 2.25. I'll just go flat if it breaks that 40 penny level, and then I'll look to get back in with a newer position, a larger position at that volume weighted average price. Again, that currently on my chart is around 2.25, but I'll probably front run that 2.33. So let's go ahead and do just that. We're going to set up the size here at the 10 exponential. We're going to wait at 55s now that it's kind of gotten away from me. And then the out will be below that 240 level. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll wait in and around there for that level to come in. So we'll see exactly what we'll get, and we won't get upset. SXTC is the one I'm talking about, continuing to do well. TSHA, I'm involved in this one still, waiting for that 178 break, still has not happened. That is a current high a day. It's been really respectful, again, this one, TSHA, of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, but it is having trouble taking out that previous area high. I'm talking about that 177, 178, which we printed really early on, by the way, at around 10:20. We got back at around there. We got back around there, excuse me, at around 11:15, and we've been hanging out at that level since 11:15. So we'll pack our patience to see what the situation is there. Now, I also did get back into ICCT. This one seems to be respecting the 20. So this is breaching my rule. I just want to be very full and honest about this. I'm taking a small cap gapper long below VWAP. I perceive it to be respecting the 20. It held up at a 3-candle hold up at the 20 exponential moving average on the 5 at around 10:05 all the way to 10:15, and then made its way right back up. But it does look like it might lose that level right now. If we do, we have a tight stop below that level, and when we got stopped out. So we'll give back a little bit here, sadly, on ICCT as we do breach the rule, and we end up paying for that, baby. So the ICCT, it's on my crap list right now. It's got to get above 3, and I won't trade it again until it's above the volume weighted average price. Back to SXTC, still hanging out, man, at that $0.75 level, 4/5. And each successive candle has a higher low. But it's also got lower highs now. So now we've got 2 candles that have higher lows, but also lower highs. So now we're starting to form a compression pattern. It appears that way anyway on SXTC since that 1120 candle. So we'll see exactly what the situation is there. I don't think it's proper to punch in here. I mean, if I do, I have to give it such a tight stop, right? So if I get in here, we're in no man's land. The previous candle high, 293. Previous candle low, 264. So if I punch in 270s and I give it to prior bar low and it wicks down below that 264 level, then I got stopped out. I might as well just wait for my order to trigger at the 10 exponential to see what happens there. Again, we're not giving it that much room with the 10. If it loses the 10, here we go. Might get filled over here. Okay, so dips down into the low 50s and then it's met with buying again. Here we go. Let's see if it drops down into my area, 58s. Now we're filled. Okay, so now it's gonna have to hold 40. If it loses 40 here, I'm out and I'll look to get back in at 230 to 225. Reason is that's VWAP. So we have 55s. Let's go ahead and wait over here. Let's see if we can get a 10 penny banger on this one. Then we'll just set up to the high side. If it wants to pop up and catch a bid, we've got orders there to allow me to catch that bid. So SXTC at the 10, but it might lose it. If it loses it, that's fine. We'll set up another trade at 233. That's where I'll look to front run VWAP, which currently is at 228. The reason I'm front running it is because it gets to be a crowded trade at that level. A lot of people want to punch in at that level, and you may or may not get the fill that you wanted. Everybody's looking at VWAP, right? Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Like in the sense that a lot of people will use VWAP as intraday support and resistance. So be on the lookout for that. If you're going to place your order there, make sure it's in an advantageous position. So SXTC, break even at the moment, looking for a move up. Drops trades, set my entry at 231 on SXTC. I happen to love that entry, man.
Ooh.
That is a VWAP retracement. That's a good look for you there, my man. The only reason I'm involved in SXTC at the 10 is so if it does hold up at the 10, at least I've got something. We're not going to risk too much, but we will participate in it, Joseph.
Yeah, Gaurav. So Gaurav and I, we're talking in the chat here, and you know what, man? You and I agree on a lot of stuff together, but on that one, on your last comment there, I don't actually agree with you on this one, all right? So look what we can see, all right? So you can see the health within these prints to the bullish side, but then also look at here, once we start to peak, and then you can see the genuity within these prints to the downside and the volume supporting that, right? So it's actually relatively larger than when we were on the incline, right? When we were appreciating in price. And then now that we're starting on the decline, that's actually steady volume. What I would want to see, Gaurav, is like something like this. So let me pull up my little trusty tool here, Sharif.
Okay.
And just kind of display what I would want to see here. And it would be something more along the lines of like, so say this was the first volume signature, this would be the second volume signature, this would be the third volume signature, this would be the fourth, etc. Right? That's what I would want to see on this pullback. And then after that, we want to see buyers start to engage, and then it slowly start to increase there. If you guys can see it, and I know my artistic abilities aren't the best here, but then as we start to go back to the top side, that's what I would want to see. And I don't necessarily see that right now. I mean, if you really want to get technical, you're right. Let's go, Wayner. And this is what you are right on that fact, but it is steady and relatively strong, right? So this is what I would want to see over here, and that's not necessarily what we're getting. We're getting some nice strong prints to the downside, and you can see the health within the candles themselves. So yeah, that's just me. Could I be totally wrong, dude? You've hit some trades on the head and done some fantastic things. I'm like, man, Gaurav, how did you even snipe that trade?
Bang.
And you did so, and I'm like, I was looking at it, I didn't take it, you took it, and you just printed cash. But on this instance, I just wanted to take a better look here, a more defined look into that volume by time profile, because it is relatively strong. But what we can always do is we can just zoom in to see what the 1 minute is telling us. Can it be decisive at times? Absolutely. And do we have some indecision right there? We are starting to get that bounce, but I want to see something on the 5 minute first before we get in it, because this can be a breath. And then now let's look at this from an inverse perspective, all right? So you can see that the volume is relatively strong, but now look at the pullback volume. It's kind of what we would want to see initially from the pullback, but now within the secondary or tertiary trend here, you can see that when buyers are stepping in, it's relatively weaker. Can that change? Absolutely. But until we come back and test this backside of the trend, volume really starts to pick up and we crack through it, I think that we might continue to the downside. But again, I could totally be wrong just following the volume by time profile until it's going by what it's telling me, Sharif.
All right, Joseph, still waiting on here for something to happen either on SXTC. I did work into Hertz, so we're long here at the 20 exponential on Hertz, taking a smaller position, waiting for the bigger position, as you can see there with my resting order. This is a VWAP retracement, so we'll take a lighter one on the 20 exponential pullback, looking to scalp above that 9, but I'm definitely looking for a deeper retracement into that 880 area, give or take. That is the level where we're waiting right now. So for SXTC, my beak wetters at around the low 60s or something. It's showing me 57s right now. Not a bad look. It's not really clearing by any distance. It's got a hammer candle at the 10 exponential, but I don't want to place too much weight on that. I'm really looking for, if this fails, for the break of 40, and then I'll look to get in at 233. I've already got that order out there on SXTC. All right, going back to Hertz, because it's right back down again into my entry at the 20 exponential, still going unfilled though, is that 882 where I'm looking to dip trade the volume weighted average price. So that's all I've got on right now. We've got on 3 trades, TSHA, which is still holding the 10, Hertz as a dip trade. Undecided how I feel about this one right now. It's still technically bullish because it's got it's above the volume weighted average price, but Still on a downtrend it goes. All right, here we go. SXTC popping up. Let's see if we can take some profits there. That's a good look there. Good. So SXTC, we get a little bit out there. Now my next out on SXTC at around 75s. It's at 63s. So it technically held the 50 penny area because it didn't close below that 50 penny area, but it's by no means, guys, out of the woods. I'm still leaving my order at the volume weighted average price, and I'm still leaving my stop loss below that 40 penny level because I just don't want to get caught offside on this one. SXTC in the low 60s right now. Just got the beak wet there at 62. All right, so that's the situation. Let's move back over here into Hertz because we're about to get filled. I'm waiting at 82s. It's showing me 85s. Anything, though, below, guys, that 75 penny area, we're going to have to stop out. That is the volume weighted average price. It's actually at $8.76. So it's a big retracement, guys, on Hertz off that $9.39, excuse me, $9.39 high a day. And here comes the volume weighted average price with my order waiting at 82s. Back to SXTC because it's, again, dropping down below the 10 exponential. So having a whole lot of trouble taking out that previous area level. That area level is 63s, right back into the mid 50s it goes. So this one does look like it is destined for a VWAP trade, which is fine. We extract a little bit of profitability on this, and I've got my order waiting for that at the volume weighted average price. Back to Hertz. Now we got that fill now at 82, so it's gonna have to hold up here. Let me see where my stop is on HTZ. We've already got that stop in place. So if it does lose the bid there, we will be getting out of dodge. So let's set up them beak wetters on this one. If it does pop back up, I'd like to be able to take some profits on this on HTZ. Showing me, where is it showing me now? 90s, not a bad look there. So technically bouncing off that volume weighted average price, but not with any vigor. So we'll have to wait and see whether we can get printed in the low 90s there, Joseph.
Yeah, so let's see what we got going on. IBIT looking nice. Maybe we can get a continuation within the trend here. We'll wait for the retest of these key levels. So what I want to do here is just take a quick gander at the O's chain to see what we got going on for overhead resistance. 52, at that 52 strike, we have about 14,000 open contracts. But what I was referring to earlier here, guys, was this right here, and we've now surpassed that. So 33.5, and we're north of that. So good look there for this name, and I like that. It's gonna put a smile on my face. There's no doubt about that. I know Neo was looking at it as well this morning too, up 4% on the session. Now let's wait for this retest. The volume is starting to cool off, and I mean it is that lunchtime hour, which usually tends to happen. But there is going to be those opportunities. The market is slightly extended from VWAP, but we had a nice healthy pullback here, guys, and looking to climb higher. But Gorb, this is exactly what I was referring to. I mean, I could have been wrong on this trade, but if we look at the 5-minute time frames, can this be sustained? Like, you can totally see what I was referring to earlier when I was just giving my quick analysis. Is that this is what I would have wanted seen. That sucks. That's what I would have wanted seen would want to see on this pullback, but we didn't get that. But now it's kind of the inverse of that, and you can see we're slowly starting to decline there on the 5-minute time frame. So we're going to be a little bit more patient to see if we can get that continuation within the strength here on the day, and the market can most definitely do that. So, but I'm going to stick with the stronger names, and I think that's going to be the likes of IBIT. I think we can continue to climb. It's nothing for Bitcoin to put in those $5,000-$10,000 sessions, and we had some really tight price compression. We'll pull up the actual Bitcoin chart here just to show you guys what I'm referring to. And I was actually worried about this. I was looking at it over the weekend, and surprisingly, I didn't want to focus on it because you guys know I was at a wedding, etc. Didn't want to focus on trading. But this had me really, really wary there, guys, because this price compression was not looking good. I'm like, oh no, we could crack to the downside. But then eventually we sat on top of the range and continued to climb higher and broke through some key resistance levels, which is really, really important. But we got a really big one here coming up there, Sharif, and that's at that 91,000 right here on Bitcoin itself. So we're gonna need that momentum, kind of like what we're seeing right now, in order for us to push through that. And I do believe if we can get into the middle of the zone here, guys, it's going to be even more positive on that front, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm most definitely going to continue to build into my swing position, and I bought some more in the long term this morning. Nothing crazy, but I added a little bit here, and I'm looking forward for this thing to break all-time highs because I talked about the consolidation phase that it was in before, and then the move wasn't necessarily what I was looking for, even though we did crack that 100,000. But I do believe we can continue to climb higher, and a lot of the analysts say $250,000 by the end of 2025. So let's get there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Let them know May 25th is the day, though.
May 25th?
Yeah. Be nice before.
Yeah, I said wary. I said wary there, my friend. You gotta be cautious there, Danny. Yeah, May 25th. May 25th is gonna be a big day here. Let's see where is this May 25th right there?
No, I wonder why is it gonna be a big day, Joseph? I thought it was gonna because it was my birthday. Clearly, because you're getting paid. That's why.
It's a dual celebration. We'll call it that, my friend. We're putting money in the pocket.
I hate this
guy. And it's Sharif's birthday, so it's gonna be.
This guy doesn't give a you know what about my birthday. He's like, when am I getting my money?
No, I significantly care about your birthday now.
Well, yeah, of course.
So no, it's all fun and games. But again, it's honestly a coin flip, I think, at this point, because if he really starts to get,
I mean, you know what day it is today, right?
Yeah,
it's 22nd.
So we got like a little bit over a month, dude. Yeah, and
let's just have a look at Bitcoin's price.
But look, here we go. So Sharif, so if you
Joseph, we're at 90. Well, let's say 91,000. We're almost at 91,000.
Okay, so but I mean, like at the beginning of April, we were at our low was around 73,000, right? And we're trading at 91,000. So that's almost 20K.
All right.
So again, if we move another 20K, 20 to 30K, right? Then we can definitely reach that in that time. So in less than a month, we move 20K. We have a little bit over a month, so you can definitely exceed another additional 20K and hit that target. We need a little bit closer to 30.
He's just gassing me up, bro. He's gaslighting me right now, making me feel good.
I told you,
you don't believe a word you just said.
I do, absolutely, because I'm in the ultimate win-win situation.
Fair. Yeah, you are.
You know what I mean? I'm in like the ultimate win-win situation. Okay, so what? I pay you a little something for your birthday. I win still.
Oh, look at this guy.
But I win still because why? Because I am super loaded on this underlying.
Exactly.
So it's essentially a win-win. Even if it doesn't reach 125, I still win. So there we go.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
All right, my man Ozan, like he's a man of routine. You know, he likes to come in. He wants to see the Katina man punching into Tesla and whatever else. And then when on this show, he demands to hear China yelled multiple times. If he'd be very upset too if we don't do the e-signal right? We're gonna do it, Ozan. Promise you, bro, my boy. Promise you, everything is gonna get done today. Everything will make sense at the end of the day. Don't you worry about it. HTZ, guys, we're doing real well. We're doing it live here on HTZ. This one was a volume-weighted average price pullback. If I could show the chart, please. Where did I get in? I got in at 83s. Okay, not a bad look there. 83s. We just wet the beak up into 908s. Not a bad look. We still got several, shares on here. Now, my next beak wetter is going to be at 11s. 911. That's not a good, we're taking that off. We're taking that off. Americans are going to get upset about that. We're going to put it at 912, okay? We're putting it at 912, and then we're going to put it at 921 for an attempt at that 9 1/5 area. I'm talking about Hertz HTZ. Shout out to your boy Ackman over there. Hid his position, did whatever he needed to do. Now he's laughing all the way to the bank, and he's leaving the crumbs for the people like me to pick up after he's already made his money. So here we go. We're moving up into 910s now. I'm waiting at 12s. It's up 16%. It's a beautiful. I mean beautiful. If you're like a technical analysis person. Hold up on the volume weighted average price, and then up we go again. We're well off the highs, needless to say, on HTZ, but keeping my eye out on that. This one is just stressing me out here. SXTC, a little above 60, a little bit below 60. You've got now 3 candles of indecision on SXTC as it zigs and zags. I'd rather just get stopped out at 40 and then get the entire position at the volume weighted average price, but it's not really up to me. I've got 50, where did I got? I got 55s long, anything below 40, we're gonna get stopped out. I was able to wet the beak, one quick out there above 60, but that's not really anything to write home about. This one though, I did add. What happened, Neil? Neil's saying there's a volume spike on something. I do see it. That's a big boy move up there. Are we going to Adara? Okay, Adara's got nothing at the moment. As soon as we find out, guys, we will let you know. Big boy volume spike there on the Mag 7. I did see kind of Apple was at that 198 at VWAP. It rocketed up to 199 a quarter. It's now back down to 198 and 3/4. So keep your eye out on the market. We just had a volume spike right now. A currently unexplained volume spike on the market. As soon as we do have more information about that, you can bet your bottom dollar we will relay that to you. I'm already hearing the call coming in from the big desk, so we will go to Adara, and then we're going to Neil's lesson of the day.
Here's the story behind that volume spike. Apparently, we have U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that he sees a de-escalation with China and called this situation unsustainable. He's made these comments before. These are actually not at all new sentiments coming from Scott Bessent, but last time he said it was after market hours. This time, I guess, he's saying it during the day, so nice little move here in the market. SPY pushing nicely today's highs. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, looking pretty similar. IWM was a little bit relatively weak earlier, but they are making up everything here, and the DIA, which has been relatively weak with UNH earnings, is now also pushing higher. So yeah, again, only headline I'm seeing now, it's coming through my blotter twice. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent seeing a de-escalation with China, saying that currently we are in an unsustainable situation. Now, here is Apple. This one at day's highs right now, but Apple and Meta on watch here. We have a report from Handelsblatt, which is a German publication, saying that the EU, under their new Digital Markets Act, might actually introduce the first fines for that act against Apple and Meta. And these fines, they could be announced as early as tomorrow. So keep an eye on META and AAPL. What about Tesla? We have earnings tonight for TSLA. These aren't going to be any old Tesla earnings because we're also expecting, according to some commentary I've seen here, we might actually be getting and some comments here, some words from Elon as to his future with the Department of Government Efficiency. We know Elon's involvement with DOGE or Doge has been viewed as a little bit bearish for Tesla because he's not focusing on the company. But there's some commentary suggesting that he could provide an update here. We'll have to see if this is an update that's well received by shareholders. Back to you, or back to Neil and his lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
The day is, if you're holding positions in anything, you're always at the mercy of the news. I had a totally different thing that I was going to talk about here, but patience and following plans and not following my plan this morning. I made a note to my note. I'll just stick to the plan of action. You guys know the deal. NVDA was cruising under VWAP and then it just broke out. BABA was cruising under VWAP and then it just broke out. The market is absolutely breaking out. No, I was just looking at my plan of action. Bitcoin liked the long. NVIDIA liked the short at 100. Did it get to 100? No. Shorted it multiple times. Nike liked it 56. Apple waited for 200. That's the only part of the plan that made any sense. I did not follow my plan today. I had way too many. They were setups that I would normally take, but not, they weren't big. They weren't right. And here's the thing. There's an opportunity cost to that. Regardless of what I think of, and just to show you Alibaba, I was very disciplined in Alibaba with my approach to it. I liked a certain level, and I was trading off of that certain level. Of course, just as I was getting back into VWAP, that news hit. What are you going to do? You're going to slap the L. You're going to drop the fail on it. So you can stay disciplined, but there's an opportunity cost. There was an absolutely perfect setup at Nike off of the 56 dip buy. And that's the problem, because when you get this trade, you get one shot for this kind of an entry. It's a sniper entry, which you almost have to grab. It's a trend back into the prior high. There's your turn. You get that 3-minute candle to get yourself into position with your good risk to reward, and then it just bleeds to the upside. Now, obviously, Nike is going to continue to go with this news. I think with the China risk, I think I should be buying dips in this in the VWAP. I want to see how it behaves. I'm not buying these highs. We've seen reversions before. But this feels like the kind of thing, if we hold some of these highs and there's buyers out and above, you're going to start to squeeze. But the long and short of it, always, everybody, I don't care what you're looking at. You have to display patience. If the only thing I shorted was a reversion on Apple when it at least approached 200, and the only thing I longed was Nike, and I only found 2 trades this morning, we'd have a good day and be up instead of down. And sometimes that's just how it has to be. You might not like it when you're sitting on your hands. Look at it go right to 200 on me right there. Oh, see, this is another thing. You just got it exactly to 200, and I didn't get that short because I'm yapping to you guys. No, but you can sit on your hands And if it's not perfect, you don't have to trade it. And that's the thing about the shorts. It should have needed to be perfect, like a trend reversion off of at least close enough to the 200 level when it broke the trend, bounce into VWAP, or that dip buy in Nike. Like, that's the only thing that was coming down into support level, yet some reason it's the only thing I didn't buy. And even I don't think I was good enough on the long, although right now it seems to be working. So sometimes we say the word patience, and there's a difference between discipline and patience. I was disciplined with Alibaba, but that doesn't mean I was patient with Alibaba. I don't want to touch a short anymore, not with that headline, but you've got to be able to know the difference. You can be following an execution plan, you can be following your level of discipline or your general trading style, but it doesn't mean that you're following your overall trade plan if you're looking at the wrong stocks and not waiting for the A+ setups. Because I'm kicking myself. There were two, like Nike was an A+ setup on that bounce. It was a reversion play, the market was strong, and on top of that, it was into a big level. Apple at 200 there was obviously really good as well. So those A+ setups, you need to find a way to make sure you're in them and not overtrade some of the other stuff. But that's all part of the game. Anybody that tells you they don't have those kind of days, they're just kind of lying to you. And you've been trading a long time, believe me, you don't follow your plan every single day. You're not perfect every single day. You're not making money every single day. And you're also following a lot of those normal human traps. All you're trying to do is reduce to zero the number of errors. And if you're not honest and talking to yourself out loud about them, then you're just going to repeat them over and over again. So for me, the biggest one, of course, is going to be Nike because we trended upside. But it also comes down to, if you really, really like a short, make sure on a day like today, it's the best one. Apple was perfect. You saw me just miss it. Let's see where we settle down on this news. I want to see us hold some highs first. Like, where the dip comes back in on this big headline is going to be very, very important here. I don't want to be chasing anything up at top. That goes with Nike, that goes with Baba, that goes with Apple. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you for that, Neil, as always, my friend. And again, so I think it was Pug Life and I who were talking yesterday, and we were just talking about credit spreads and everything along those lines. So just a quick options talk before we send it to Sharif, and we're going to touch more on what's going on here. But this is what I was referring to. If you were writing right now, even on this slow 3% incline here that we've seen in the market, 2.6 at the highs, but if you were short some contracts right now, you would just be so, like, again, frustrated and blown out of the water because now the volatility is kicked right back in and the volume is back into the market. So that's what I'm saying. Like, with a headline-sensitive market, you have to be so further dated out in your writings, and you can't have those near-dated road options because you will just get blown out, and that's exactly what happened to me. So just a lesson that I've personally learned and just handing it on to you guys, but this is exactly what I was referring to. But we had a good conversation on it yesterday. Don't abandon the system, no, but it's just that there's times for the system to be utilized, and I don't think that's right now because of look at what you've seen. You don't know when these headlines are going to come out, and then look at the reaction here in the overall market.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're good to go. We're good to go.
All right. Going long,
SXTC. Are we doing it right now? Of course. Long today, especially after that headline. XXTC, we got stopped out of this, so waited for that volume-weighted average price pullback, punched in a couple of shekels higher. It lost it entirely. So this one, we're out of this one. Not going to really try to deal with SXTC because it's not respecting these technical levels, at least not right now. So if it wants to get above VWAP, maybe we'll have a look at it. But for now, I'm going to have to focus on something else. Keeping my eye here on HTZ. Currently got 83s. It's still hanging out above 9s. It's trying to hold up above 9. But technically, if we hold up here, this is a higher low. So I've got the next peak weather above that 910 area at 912s. But, you know, it's just kind of, it looks like it's rounding a little bit from the top. So this one does concern me a little bit. I'm talking about HTZ. Tisha, we're back. We're dealing with Tisha right now. I did add into that 170 drop back, and we did end up getting filled at 173. But the problem is now we're right back at VWAP again. So it's not like we're bouncing off and staying off VWAP. We got a quick bounce and then right back down into that volume weighted average price. That's the bad news. The good news is we're not losing it, at least not yet. So still up 18% and still being bought up at the volume weighted average price. So I've really got nothing else other than those two trades. I'll keep my eye on the scanner. I'm not seeing anything really new, anything come in that it looks awfully tradable. I'm seeing a new one over here, actually. That's incorrect. PRTG. So who's going to lose their spot here on the side chart? CMCT is going to lose it. We're in about PRTG. This is a good look right here. So this one just started getting going. I mean, it had a nice, decent move up. I want to say it right at 930, but the bulk of the move is notional, percentage, volume, everything coming in quite recently, 1150. That's when the volume candle, this volume candle here manifested to about 200,000 shares per 5-minute candle. It's not the biggest I've ever seen, certainly for PRTG, but definitely of note. So we're going to keep that one on the side chart. It's defending the 10 exponential or the volume weighted average price, depending on what you're looking at and where. I'm more inclined to want to use the 10 exponential. That seems like it was the defendable area on the down move, but now since we popped up and cleared that 10 exponential by some distance, it looks like it is using VWAP as support. So we got a 1437 high a day. We'll see where this one goes. Good move up for PRTG at Dara.
I just want to repeat this China headline in case anyone missed it. So Scott Bessent reportedly, and I say reportedly because it seems unclear as to where he said this, but Scott Bessent, who is the U.S. Treasury Secretary, according to various sources posting this on X, said that he sees a de-escalation with China, saying that the current situation is unsustainable. So reportedly, these comments were made at a JP Morgan event in Washington, citing sources. It's odd that we don't actually have where he said this, and this is the only headline I'm seeing of his coming out of the event. But yet, we have Scott Bessent basically saying that he does see there's a de-escalation with China, calling the situation unsustainable. That headline, and as far as I can see, that headline alone sent the market sharply to the upside. Also, I want to put out one name that's really not to the upside right now, and that's Netflix. NFLX making a bit of a double top in a wider time frame at its all-time high at that 1064 and pushing lower. This name did bump with the rest of the market, but it's already given back all of that and then some. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Adara. And you can see with this de-escalation, apparently, which is going to be a positive sign. It's going to be a positive sign for Amazon, Sharif, because we mentioned about 70% of their products when we looked at it before are coming from China. And now you can see Amazon up about 4.6% on the session and continuing to climb higher. So really good look there on AMZN there, Sharif.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
You see, you did a nice look.
Yeah,
here.
that was a 1-2 quick punch there.
Yeah,
like
in
how
and
you
out.
knocked out that guy that one time.
Yeah, in
Quick,
and out,
one,
in and
two,
out.
one,
That's
two.
all it takes is one. You know what I mean?
I love it. All right, guys, we're looking at a new small cap gapper. Here it is, PRTG. Very respectful right now of that white line. That white line happens to be the volume weighted average price. But as I watch this trade, it looks like it is quite spready. So let's load it up on a trading screen. And yeah, I know, Adara, but it's tough to trade these small cap gappers when they're spready. I get your affinity for it. I really do. But it is a tough one. PRTG, let's have a look at this one. It trades on the NQ. Yes, and it is spready. So right now, just a cursory view. It's already a 12-penny spread widening up as I see it. But it is on the way to 14. So all the closing prints have been south of 14, by the way. They've all been below 13 2/3. We've had a couple of wicks on the 5 that have breached 14. I'm talking about 14 and a third on the day. That's the high of the day, 14.37. So here's the deal. The current low of this candle here is at a third. So I'm going to punch in. And I'm going to give it to the same bar low because this one looks like it's bull flagging right now. So there we go. We're long. Where are we long? We're long at 80. So I'm going to give this one to 1330. So if it loses that 1330 area, we're gonzino on this one. And by the way, if you're going to punch into this one, make sure to use a good spread on your stop loss. Otherwise, if it goes past your area, it may not trigger you. And I've talked about that before. So we'll look to take some profits ahead of 14. We're going back to Adara with more breaking news. Boom to the high side. All right, you can go to Adara.
Take a look here at the market. We have more context coming through right now about comments that were allegedly made by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. So Bloomberg basically reporting, because we had no source initially, we just had these comments coming through in the wire. Now we have more context. Bloomberg reported that Scott Bessent told a closed-door investor summit on Tuesday that the tariff standoff with China is unsustainable and that he expects the situation to de-escalate. So nothing really new or super unheard of here. He also said the negotiations have not started yet, but he believes a deal is possible. And this was said in a closed-door session. So Bloomberg is just citing people who heard this talk and who attended this session. So just to recap, these comments from Scott Bessent basically there's no negotiation that has started with China, but he thinks that at some point there can be some de-escalation. Unclear what that de-escalation would entail, but reportedly these comments were made, market pumping, as Bloomberg releases that headline without any context. Back to you.
As Adara used to say, pamp it. Boom on PRTG, Joseph Wilson. Can you get, I'm amped up, baby. All right, here we go. So we did it live. We took it at, I forget where I got it, man. I got 1378s or something like that. Boom to 1460. Quick as you freaking like. Shout out to my man Katina. I don't know where he's at. Probably walking up a storm or training up a storm, but he ain't here, baby. So this one is still having trouble with 14, guys. So put out those resting orders, those orders that will take the profits while you are on a different screen, texting, doing whatever, all right? So that's why I was able to get this one. I did put it at the above the $0.50 at 55s. It quickly wicked up there. We were just singing your praise, my man. We were just singing your praise 2 seconds ago. Now you're walking in. So shout out, the Katina man has returned.
Shout out the Katina man has returned.
There he is, baby. There he is. So quick as you like, it broke that $14.50 area, and then down it goes. It's below my entry right now, and I don't even think my stop triggered. So I got to get rid of all these orders over here. PRTG. Keep your eye out on this one. It's up 50%. It is a trade de novo. What that means is it's a newer trade. It wasn't trading in the pre-market. Yes, it did have a couple of nice moves up after 9:30, but I'll submit to you the majority of the volume on PRTG is subsequent to that 11:45 candle. That means it's just getting the move now. In case you're wondering why that matters, a lot of the times with these small cap gappers, especially the ones that have been running in the pre-market or even after the bell, we got to pick up the scraps, right? We don't get that breakout trade where we get to take the micro pullbacks for that big move up. We got to get them off technical areas of support because I don't short these ones. So it won't be resistant. So the point is, it's nice when one moves anew sort of midday. We'll keep an eye out on this one. Definitely interested in continuing with this one. I like it at 13, by the way. 13 is where the volume weighted average price is. In fact, it's a little bit, the volume weighted average price that is, it's at 1288, excuse me. So I'd run it at 13. If I could, you all right up there? All right.
Oh,
that's okay. I'm sure you'll be fine. HTZ though, guys, it is coming down. We're long 83s. It doesn't look like it's able to break above 9. I don't want to paper hand this trade, so what I did was I placed my stop loss on HTZ or HTZ for my Canadians out there, below my entry. So I've given it to $8.79. I'm long $8.83. We'll have to see if this one can hold VWAP. Otherwise, I want no smoke. And last but not least, shout out to my girl Tisha in the chat. She is in the chat, so we're gonna shout her out. Tisha, I was singing your praise like I was singing the Katina man's praise earlier, because this is like the perfect ticker for you, Tisha. It's a small cap gapper. It's very close to your name. It's not a 5-letter ticker, TISHA, but we'll go with TSHA over here. You know what Joseph says, right? Five-letter tickers?
You don't trade them.
You don't trade them.
You don't trade them.
You don't trade them.
You don't trade.
So you're lucky, Tisha, that this is not TISHA. It's just TSHA.
So you can trade it.
Hey. So that's what we're doing right now, Joseph. We're doing it live on TSHA and HTZ. What do you got, my man?
All right, yeah. We're sitting here in some IBIT here, looking for the continuation on this trend. If we crack the volume weighted average price, then I'm going to get out of the trade. And I think it's looking like we might, to be honest with you. Gold is heading to the downside, so rightfully so. Positive sign here for the markets on this news. Hopefully we can come to somewhat of a conclusion relatively soon. I don't expect it to happen today, tomorrow, or even matter of fact by the end of the week or next week, but eventually if we can slowly get these talks to come to a conclusion and everybody can win on both sides, then Donald will continue to win and hopefully China, because we both know that they need each other. Sony, little trade. I mean, I'm in it right now, so this is going to be my first trade here on IBIT. It's up, Gaurav. Yeah, honestly, Gaurav, dude, look at this analysis all day, every day, and sometimes I'm going to be wrong, and I was so wrong on this, and you were absolutely right. And you can see on the 5-minute time frame, we just really start to pick up as we crack through the high day as well, too. But did we know that headline was going to come out? Absolutely not. So there you go. You had the right idea. I think it's going to be a positive sign there for Amazon. and company. NVDA still knocking on the door of 99.39. Let's see what we got going on. I know there is some open interest.
Bro. You open up the door, bro. Come on now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Knocking on the, yeah, I get it now. There, I'm a little bit slow there, I guess, Sharif. But here we go. Let's see what we got going on. Okay. So that's why. All right. So 41,000 open contracts here at that $100 strike price, and you can see that we're just stalling out as the overall market is continuing to climb. I know someone in the chat mentioned it as well too. Oh. So there you go. What's our high a day?
What is
99.62, Sharif. 99.62 with 41,000 open contracts on the call side, 28,000 on the put side. So we got a big wall there. Got to see if we can get through that. If we get another volume spike and another positive news catalyst, anything from a headline standpoint, then we can most definitely go through that. But right now, we're starting to reject it. So knocking on the door of it, but no one is answering, Sharif.
Oh.
So yeah, we're going to have to be patient
That's rude,
in order.
bro.
Yeah, very, very, very much rude, especially because they know we're right there. And we need to climb a little bit higher here in NVDA, but we're not climbing, nor am I in it. But Amazon now 5.25 on the session, one of the stronger ones. That is some positive news coming out of Mr. Bassett himself on this China talk. So there you go, Amazon reaping the rewards. I guess.
Shout out to Scott. We like Scott around here. Get it, Scott. 90,800. We're almost at Bitcoin. Just $35,000 more to go, Katina man, on BTC, and I'm out of that bet. By the way,
you're not out of it. You're very much
man
in it.
just looked me in the eye and said, I like your odds. I know you're stone cold lying on that, but whatever, it's fine. Shout out to the Katina, man. It's making me chuckle, bro. Yeah, average. No. I still haven't added. Full disclosure, I still haven't added to my IBIT position.
That's great.
I did add to Apple. I did add to ASML on that drop, but I did not add to IBIT. And yeah, I know it's crazy. It's stupid. That's what it is. I just didn't.
Crazy,
I don't know why.
spooky,
I thought we were going to see 70. I wanted 72, yeah, because that was a technical area.
That's fair.
We did glance at that area, to be fair. We danced in the mid-70s.
We danced, yeah. We knocked on the door, but no one answered.
Yeah, well, you know, that seems to happen a lot
would you say you wanted to see 70 exactly?
No, like low, you know, that mid-70s area.
Bro,
area
we were at 70. We had a low of 74s.
75, yeah, 74, yeah, but that was a quick one. Was that overnight? I feel like that was an overnight print.
Maybe. I don't know, because this is on thing, right? So, yeah.
End of story.
That's it. It's done. I just simply didn't. But hey, I mentioned, I think there's going to be some more opportunities to do so, Sharif.
Where is IBIT right now?
IBIT is around 51.
So I'm break even right now on IBIT. Like I'm 51. Literally 30 pennies out of the money. I have like 52 tens. For my IBIT, and it's at 51.80.
So there you go.
So there's no point in adding here. I'm going to have to wait for another drop. I want to kind of lose the bet now. You know what I mean?
But I mean, you can also add into the strength too. Like, I mean, if it looks like we're going to make that push for the all-time high, I told you that I'm going to be adding aggressively at the crack of the all-time high, because statistically, buying those all-time highs is a positive strategy.
Oh, that all-time high break, that gets me in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd rather be obviously long before that.
Yeah.
Guys, we're keeping an eye here on Tisha. Shout out to Tisha. We just wet the beak again at 74. I'm very happy with this trade, even though it's not a big notional move. It's an entry over here. We wet the beak multiple times. It came back in to the volume weighted average price. We added, and now we're extracting some more profitability. So let's go ahead and wait at 76s for the next little move there. Simultaneously, we're still holding Hertz, and I'm kind of happy I didn't look to move up my stop on this one, because it continues to defend that volume weighted average price. Now, it's got a triple, I don't want to call it a triple bottom, because they're not close enough to each other to be called that, but you see, here's what I'm saying. No, it's actually a quadruple. Ooh. All 4 times since we reclaimed volume, the volume weighted average price as a support level, I'm talking about that candle at 1020 that brought us above VWAP. We've defended VWAP on a wick basis perfectly once, twice, OB thrice, and thank for covering for me yesterday, and yet again a 4th time over here at 1210. All the dips on HTZ into the volume weighted average price subsequent to 10:20 a.m. have been bought up. Whether or not we make another intraday high, a different story, but the point is to try to get the odds on our side. So I'm continuing to watch SXTC reclaim that 250 area. Look, I got stopped out. I have to have an area where I say I'm wrong. So VWAP was my area. Having looked at it after the fact, this looks like a great area to have your stop. Why? Because of this candle over here and that candle over here. On the 5 minute, I'm talking about the 1030 candle and the 1050 candle, both of which wicked up to 1215, both of which rejected that level. Lo and behold, when we came back in and tested that 215, not 1215, we held it to the almost to the penny. So I'm feeling awfully bad about myself right now for not having seen that, but I don't think I would have used it anyway, to be honest with you, because I think that my line in the sand would have been the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about SXTC. Fantastic look over here, looking to take out more. So that's the deal right now. We're involved in Hertz. We're involved in Tisha, and Tisha's trying, right back into that high again here on TSHA. We're gonna go into 79s now, Joseph. I do appreciate that. Oh, we just added into the position, Joseph, another fat finger. So we'll take that one out super quick, and then we'll look to set up a little bit better at 81. So we'll look to take out there. There it is. So that's on TSHA. Not a bad look there. It's 12:30. Did you have anything you wanted to mention? Because I want to go through the headlines.
No. Oh, okay, yeah, actually, here, we'll go over here something really quick because my good friend here, E. Lemon Musk, was asking me about UNH. He said he's YOLOing UNH calls. I think this is more Adara's line. There was definitely some news here. I can't recall, but Adara most definitely knows. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get her to talk about this just from a technical standpoint. You said you averaged in at 240. One thing to note there, Mr. E. Lemon, is that you have those leaps 2027, so you got a lot of time. Don't worry about that. Hopefully this works out for you. Hopefully you didn't buy it when it was too heightened volatility. Did it lose 450?
Yeah, it's
yeah. Yeah. We're trading at like 430 right now.
I showed you that 450 level. That was like a period.
Oh yeah.
Years,
so multiple touches. Yeah. So we cracked that to the downside. So that's not a positive sign. But E Lemon Adara is gonna touch on what's going on with UNH for us real quick.
So I'm not going to show my marked up trading view chart because it's just very, very marked up. It might be a little bit confusing. But here's the weekly on trade ideas, and you can see here, as mentioned, I would argue it's more 440 than 450, but there's a very clear this kind of range, I guess we had for a while, that 440, 450 with the top here of 546. Previous all-time high was I believe like around 540, so that was certainly an area of interest as well. We get that breakout, and then unfortunately, this stock and also a man's life were marred by the Luigi Mangione incident, which then did lead to this drop in the stock. So we were at all-time highs when that happened. Then we just made a lower high here around that $600 when we got earnings. So I would be very cautious. I think if we can nicely reclaim that 440 and then that 550 area, it could be of interest. But that is, of course, just one woman's take. Also, I think what has been really key as well is if you attach an anchored VWAP from the day of the shooting, I've actually found that's been really helpful because VWAPs are really good for getting a sense of volume, especially if you're going to attach it to a news event to bring it back to the news. If you add volume and a catalyst, that can be a really good idea of sentiment. Where are people buying? Where are people selling? Where is the sentiment changing? So I would recommend doing that if you go back to December 2nd, I believe it was, or December 6th, and attach that a VWAP, that just potential take there. But that is my quick UNH take. Also, in half an hour, Caroline Leavitt will take the stage there for her White House press conference. Back to you.
You see Fitness Depot sale? They're selling the rubber plates, 45 pounds. How much are they selling that for, Joseph?
$25.99.
Come on, bro. What? $25.99. That's like $half per pound.
Yeah.
That's not how it is. You know it's $1 per pound.
All right, so I had to take a swing at the target. I thought we're getting a discount.
You make the whole thing anticlimactic now, bro. now the price I'm going to say is going to look like crap.
What is it,
$38.
All right, yeah, so there you go. That's a good one, man. It was like $5 a pound back in.
Do you remember
during COVID? Yeah.
Dude, I bought concrete weights during COVID.
Dude, you should have seen
for
my
$2
setup.
a pound. I was getting rinsed.
Dude, I had the adjustables, and it was honestly the biggest. But I had that the station, which was I bought for $130.
You bought the Bowflex adjustable bar?
No. So I had the dip, and the leg raise thing. I got it on Amazon just before everything went to.
Rinsed on that too?
No, I paid $130 for it. It was honestly, and exactly. And then I ended up giving it away, but I had a bunch of 10-pound adjustables and some plates that I bought off of my buddy, but they were expensive, right? He's like, man.
Everything was insane during COVID. Yeah. All right, we got to go back to Adara.
I just want to let you guys know we had this whole market of course, with some notable exceptions, run up as we got this talk here from Scott Besson suggesting a potential de-escalation in China, though it's a lot more opinion or speculation than actual news. But gold actually dropping on this. Here's GLD. We're at days lows on GLD. We know that GLD was really strong yesterday when the market was weak. Now we have some strength back in the market. GLD doing a bit of a flat bottom break here at that 314 level to the downside. And with that, we'll send you back to Mr. Flat Bottom Break himself, Sharif and Joe.
The market moves like the waves, always rolling. So stay in the game. Like, subscribe, and let's go.
Damn. Oh, my day.
All right, here it is. Let's show this, bro. Look at this. Joseph, these are sick. You can, number one, you can get a good grip in.
A good grip.
If you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the ones I had. Those are the ones I had.
Those are $39.60 for a 45-pound plate. You know
those are the exact. Those are the exactly the ones that I had.
These are great, dude. I don't know why anyone would not like these.
These
are
fantastic.
45. Cheaper, Fabian. I look on Marketplace. That's my go-to, Fabian. I start on Marketplace. And if I don't like the prices on Marketplace, then I weasel over to some other websites. Yeah, Fabian, you and I think alike, brother. But that's the look right now. Great,
this
great
is,
deal.
I'll show you. Hold on. Let me show you what I was going to get here.
Oh, you're on Rogue.
Oh, buddy.
Rogue's like the top brand, dude. That's
come on, my guy. You already know what's going on. This is what I want. This is what I need right here, my guy. For these
Canadian dollars. Why are you making fun of us, Somani Beats? What's the problem? Yes, we have Canadian dollars. What do you think?
This is what I'm looking to get into here for the summer on these runs on the lake here. I need that rope.
You ever done Murph?
No, I've never done. What do you mean? Have I ever done Murph?
You did CrossFit?
Yeah, but I've never.
You did CrossFit?
Have you done
I've done Murph.
Yeah,
yeah, long ass time.
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy. Have I ever done Murph? But yeah, this is what your boy's gonna be signing up for right here. I need one of these. Do
you remember the single named exercises? Like, what is there? There's a whole bunch.
In Murph?
No. Remember CrossFit has they always name the exercises after a fallen hero.
Oh, did they? No, I
there's
didn't know.
Anyway, the chat will know because we'll check it. But Sharif, I will beat you in an arm wrestle because what? Come on, David. That's cheating, bro. That's not fair, man. All right, guys, let's
I'll poke you in. That's crazy.
Yeah. He's gonna do the Hulk Hogan eye rake.
All right.
Right? You know what I mean?
All right.
No, seriously, guys, let's get to the headlines. We're going to do this segment, I think, every day. When things slow down, we'll recap the headlines as they were in the morning. So let's start right down to it. Tesla, after the bell today. So if you're going to be around after the bell, even if you're not, make time to be around. The market recap show today, where it's going to be myself, the Katina Man, Adara, and it's going to be Tesla after the bell. That's obviously a big boy mover. Joseph was telling me where the call wall or the put wall was on Tesla, and I was telling him, I'm like, brother, I think that basically where I think it was, where'd you say, 260?
300, bro.
300. I'm like, well, that could easily take out 300 on a good report. We're not expecting a good report, though. So let's talk about what Tesla's been doing lately, and I'll zoom in because I know Fabian will not like the fact that it's small. Tesla was down 6% yesterday, dropping down to about 227. That's just a skosh above the year's low, guys. It's down, as of yesterday, 44%. I'm looking at it right now. It's down year to date, 40%. And yesterday, anyway, it marked the 12th day in 2025 that the stock has dropped more than 5%. So volatility is its middle name. We're expecting about a 13% drop in deliveries year over year for Q1. So we're expecting about 336,680 vehicles. We'll see where this ends up actually coming in. Revenue also expected to dip down to about $21.25 billion on the quarter, with EPS, earnings per share, their profitability, a measure of profitability, guys, of about 40 cents per share. Analysts have been obviously citing rising competition from Chinese EVs, and I definitely agree with that. They're also talking about nationalist sentiment in China, perhaps maybe not wanting to buy Teslas and choosing instead a local brand. The Trump tariffs as well could hurt them, as they do have exposure to Mexico and China. I'm talking about Tesla. That definitely could eat into margins. And there's also pricing pressure, especially if Tesla is forced to export more from China because of some tariff headwinds there. So that's the Tesla headline there. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Yesterday, We continue to see Bitcoin strength today. Yesterday, we reached about 88,800. We're well above that now. We're talking about 91,000. So good look for Bitcoin. But Ethereum, not participating today because ETH is up 8%, okay? It's above 1,700 right now. But yesterday, it was definitely underperforming, 2.5% in the negative. So kind of that same divergence that we've been seeing between Bitcoin and ETH. Not so much today. ETH having a nice day, as I mentioned, above 1,700 and over 8%. Trading volume surged yesterday. For Bitcoin, 98%. We had about $38.64 billion in renewed market participation after weeks of sideways action. And Bitcoin market dominance is about 63% of crypto, so it continues to remain quite high. The market sentiment was obviously buoyed yesterday after the swearing in of Paul Atkins, who is now the SEC chair, taking after Gary Gensler. He's seen as very pro-crypto, so the market liked that. Atkins previously stated that developing a regulatory framework for digital assets and these coins would be a top priority for him. And the crypto fear and greed index, which Adara reports on a lot of the times during the crypto segment, dropped, guys, from fear down to neutral, reflecting some optimism there. Total liquidation is about $270 million in the last 24 hours, with BTZ's open interest, Joseph, about 3%. Not really sure how to read that, by the way. Like, what does that mean? 3% open interest up to 3.52 billion. So I'd really like to understand what the hell that BTC open interest is. I need to look more into that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if it's referring to the options of maybe possibly. So
good question.
So if it is so rose 3%, so that they're seeing a 3% increase in open contracts currently right now, and more inflows into the option aspect of Bitcoin, maybe possibly.
Makes sense.
Could be wrong though. I don't know exactly.
That's fine.
But that's what it might be. Let's see what people are saying. You're not done yet? All right, cool. There's some good comments too after you're done there.
Go ahead.
No, so Sharif, we got Carlos Vegas says, Tesla is going to beat the sandbag on certain things. We already know that they missed on cars because they released that already. Fair enough. Any pop-up on Tesla will be taxi and robots, but yet that doesn't exist.
Okay, I respect that opinion. Yep. I don't entirely agree with it. I think the Model 2 or the Model Q, or let's just call it the cheaper EV, cheaper than the Model 3, that's a good needle mover as well, man. I think that a lot of the, the people holding back on the EV sales are price, obviously, and now with the $7,500 tax credit in limbo in the States, still available, but for how long, I think that'll even be a bigger factor with a cheaper EV. So I get completely robotics, FSD, those are the future things, but I think that the Model 2, the Model Q, whatever the smaller model, that moves the needle in the shorter term, should it be announced. Now, we were expecting, according to Elon, for production of this Model 2 smaller EV to begin in the second half of this year. Well, I don't know. I have my doubts about that, but Elon is Elon. We'll have to see if he can deliver. To be fair, he has been loosey-goosey with time frames in the past. He's always delivered, but never, well, I shouldn't say never, but always a little bit late, Joseph. So we'll have to wait.
Sometimes, and we talked about this before, but I want to ask you this, Sharif.
Yeah.
So do you think the release of the Model 2 is going to be positive for Tesla, even though we've seen that the EU sales are down, China sales are down, and everything? Do you think that's a good strategic move by Elon himself right now?
It's a great question.
To release something, even though...
It's a great question.
Because you still have the likes of BYD absolutely dominating the space now. Do you think that's a good strategic move from Elon to go through with this and really start to pump out more cars when all of his other cars are declining in sales?
So a couple of things. Definitely demand destruction and brand deterioration hurt. Does it hurt them more to drop a cheaper EV? Certainly not. BYD also doesn't have North American footprint, and it probably will never, because they are going to be super protectionist of, they don't want these Chinese EVs here. That's just kind of how I feel about that. So I think it doesn't hurt, Joseph, whether or not it gets the ball rolling in the way that we had hoped.
So there would be more tailwind opposed to headwind,
I would say so. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, bro.
All right, guys, let's go on here. Apple facing iPhone 17 stock woes, guys, amid material shortage and tariff concerns. So specifically here, there's a scarcity of low CTE fiberglass cloth. I never even heard of this till today. It's important for SoC chips, RF packaging substrates, camera modules, batteries. Apparently, it's so important that your boy Timmy C got on the phone with all their suppliers, pressuring them to make sure that they've got it and they've got it ready in time for 17 production. Well, let's talk about some of these expectations for what the 17 is supposed to be. A lot of pictures floating around now online, and a lot of them, they're not going to give you the full picture, but they're going to give you an accurate sense. Why? Because Apple has to send the general mold of the phone to all the suppliers who have to have all the accessories ready to go. So sometimes we don't know exactly what the components inside are going to be, but we have a general idea of what the outside is, and there's a lot of those pictures online. So do your homework there if you're interested. So as it always is, we're going to get a launch in September for the new iPhone. It's supposed to have a revamped design, larger camera island on the Pro models, and a new iPhone 17 Air apparently is going to be one of the lineups there. It's going to have a high-density battery. It's going to have the new Apple-specific C1 modem. And we've seen this debacle with Apple and Qualcomm going back and forth, Qualcomm continuing to supply them in the future. But Apple taking the opportunity of the iPhone Air to be able to drop their own modem in there so they can kind of figure out the growing pains. So we'll have to see how that ends up working out. So that's the Apple headline there. The China headline, we don't need to get into too much. Novo Nordisk as well. Very interesting today. Their stock was, I thought it was going to be down. I guess maybe not. Let's see if it is. The reason is because Eli Lilly dropping their own oral weight loss pill, GLP-1, an oral GLP-1 drug, which could increase usage. A lot of people don't like injecting themselves, so we'll have to wait and see how this one does. Apparently, it showed good phase 3 trials, so the weight loss reduction was up 7.9%, up to 40 weeks on the highest dose, and apparently you didn't plateau. So if you continue to use it after 40 weeks, you continue to lose weight. So I'm not vouching for it, but this is what is being reported there. Moving on, Donald Trump yesterday met with Walmart, Target, and Home Depot CEOs with a view to obviously getting some of these prices under control with tariffs on the horizon. They discussed obviously the impact of Trump's tariff plans on retail business models, which rely heavily on imported goods. But here's what got my attention, Joseph. Listen to this. And Neil already knew about this when I mentioned it to him today. Walmart, the most insulated of the three. Believe it or not, around 2/3 of the products sold in Walmart US, not Walmart Canada, are made, grown, or assembled domestically. That's 66%, dude. I did not see that. I thought 66% would have been imported from China.
That's why we love Walmart.
We love Walmart.
That's why we love Walmart.
I mean, I didn't know that. I'm gonna just tell you flat out. Didn't have any idea it was that much.
We love Walmart.
Here's what gets my attention. Assembled domestically. Everything comes in.
Yeah,
you know, it gets assembled here.
Right. So maybe not manufactured.
Right. Target way more dependent, guys, on discretionary imports like apparel, home goods, much more exposed. This article goes on to say the company has just projected a 1% sales growth for this year. I'm talking about Target, so we'll have to see how that all goes there. Amazon having a great day today, but here's the deal. We were talking about maybe the slowing down of AI spend. We already saw Microsoft say that they were going to start any new projects. They're not going to cancel any of the ones they have on tap now, but they're not starting any new ones. And here's a second Mag 7 name echoing the same sentiment. So Amazon Web Services, AWS, has paused some co-location lease discussions, especially for international data centers, according to Wells Fargo. The move mirrors Microsoft's recent pullback on early-stage infrastructure projects. Both companies continue with the signed deals, but are reevaluating future expansion amid market and geopolitical uncertainty. So let's wait to see, is this a tariff story or is this an AI saturation story? Because I think they're both relevant here. So we'll kind of just jump over some of that other information there, which is not really that relevant at the moment. But this is the one that I really want to keep my eye on. The FTC suing yet another American company. The Federal Trade Commission, Joseph, has sued Uber, alleging deceptive billing and cancellation practices tied to its Uber One. So the FTC is claiming they misled customers about the subscription benefits. They charged users without their consent. They made it difficult to cancel the memberships, which violates several different statutes. Uber allegedly advertised a $25 a month savings without disclosing how much a subscription is. They charged before the billing date in some scenarios, according to this report. They directed users to contact support to cancel, but offered no way of doing so. And they billed some users after cancellation. So the FTC pissed about that, Joseph. This is going to be the first FTC lawsuit launched under Trump 2.0. The other lawsuits that were already existing were launched under Biden administration, carried over by Trump. And we already know the FTC chair, Andrew Ferguson, taking over from Lena Khan, has obviously made his point very clear. He is going to continue to go after these companies. Uber, for their part, they responded by expressing disappointment. I can't imagine they were happy. They said the sign up and the cancellation processes are clear and fast, taking 20 seconds or less, and no charges were made without consent. In case you're wondering what the hell Uber One is, they offer free delivery and ride discounts for about $10 a month or $96 a year. The company currently has around 30 million subscribers. That was as of December. Moving down here, 3M reported earnings. It's kind of a nothing burger. GE Aerospace. This is important only for one reason. So Neil was asking me today, he's like, yo, what the hell is going on with these defensive stocks like your Raytheons, what else? Raytheon, Lockheed, all the other ones as well. They were all kind of down in the morning. And it looks like here, GE Aerospace, they did well, beating on the top and bottom line. But when it came to their segment breakdown, defense and propulsion missed the expectations of $2.42 billion. In revenue, they only printed $2.32. So that could be an explanation there. Last but not least, AMD getting a price target cut with Intel from Bernstein, giving that one a bit of a move down. But they're both positive on the day, to be fair. And that is it.
Well, I mean, that was fantastic there. That was fantastic. You need that insight here, especially if we're going to be trading these markets. You need that day-to-day insight on what you just gave there, and that was absolutely fantastic work and reporting there, Sharif. So, fantastic job there, my friend. A lot going on. I think the Uber one is definitely most interesting. FTC going after another American company, as Sharif just mentioned before, and I think it's time to just relax, especially in these times of kind of macroeconomic unrest. So, again, not maybe necessarily the time, but if it is upsetting a lot of customers, then it does need to be taken care of, because you do not want to be ripping off your customers. And I heard people in the chat were saying that it happened to them with Uber One as well too. They tried to cancel something and it didn't really work out how they planned. So very good stuff there, brother. Let's see what we got going on with IBIT. We are sitting on the backside of this trend here, so you can see that I had this downside and we have this base here formed. So hopefully we can hold that. If we decide to climb a little bit higher, then maybe I'm going to add to the position and look for that that break of the high day here. But we are up about 4% on the session, so that is a good move here on Bitcoin throughout the day. So I'm going to be a little bit patient and wait for this one to slowly grind higher. But one thing I do want to know, and I know a lot of people in the chat are referring to this one, look at this here, guys. We showed you this here earlier. You can see that we could not crack it. 99.80, and then that short came in right off of that $100 strike price with a 44,000 open contracts at that level, and we cannot break through that. We've seen this 41,000, to be corrected, and we couldn't get through. So we have it both heavy on the call and the put side, 29,000 closer to 20. Yeah, so 29,000 exactly. On that front. And 41.1 thousand on the call side. So here again, coming in as key resistance, and this is why we mark out these levels on a day-to-day basis. As soon as that market opens, you want to be able to identify where the zone may be, whether it be max pain, you want to see the highest levels of OI on either side at either a lower or higher strike price, but you also want to see where we might see some overhead resistance, and that's exactly where it came in. So once again, that highly coming into play. So nice short there, Wampadilla, on that. So there you go, Ben. bang. We'll hit the bang on that for you because that was a fantastic play, especially because, again, there's so much more conviction within that setup and confluence because of us just being able to identify these key levels on the open interest column on the chain there. But let's see what we got going on. We're starting to pull back here in IBIT. Sitting in this one, we are moving sideways up 4% on the session. So let's see if we can break through that. Going to be patient, consistently forming these higher lows, which is a positive note. We haven't cracked it to the downside yet. So we'll continue to sit in this until otherwise, until the trade tells us, hey, this may not work out right now. But I mentioned this before we got this here. Price is really starting to compress. Hopefully we can snap through that and then continue to climb higher. But again, you can't complain about a 4% day. What are you guys all looking at in the chat? Put a couple of tickers. We're going to go over some of them. I'm curious what everybody else is trading. I know some individuals in the chat were referring to SoFi. So let's see how SoFi has been, what it's been up to. Moving with the overall market now, starting to pull back in towards the volume-weighted average price. But let's just talk about following the volume, guys. On that news event, you can see here that once we got that pop, we essentially haven't looked back. And I think that's something really important that you need to always keep an eye out on. When you have a headline-sensitive market and you see a move like this with a volume print like that, it's a really, really good signal to wait for that pullback and look for the continuation in the direction of this print. And we go over this time and time again, and you see it happen time and time again. So it's our job to start to take advantage of that. What do we got going on in the chat here? AMD, NVDA, we did that. Let's go over bull. I haven't looked at that in a while. We'll zoom out too to see what we got going on from a daily standpoint. Yeah, I mean, it's not looking too good here. It was strong, but when we got that news, it essentially it wasn't reflected here in this underlying asset. So that can signal some weak, but we'll take a look at it from a daily standpoint as well too, Sharif, to see what we got going on. Damn, 78. A high of $78. So hopefully you weren't buying up there and are currently bag holding, but that's a 66% haircut that you do not want. That is a hefty and expensive one at that. So there you go on Webull, guys. A tough look. These IPOs are crazy. What was the other one? CoreWeave, right? CRWV. Yeah, let's see what that is up to. Yeah, wow, not good. About a 50% haircut on that. And then Newsmax. Wow, what a...
I mean, that would have been beautiful option short, but I don't even think it's optionable yet.
Wow, like, dude, 91%.
I don't mean to laugh.
Wow,
Maybe
like, it's not
this.
funny.
I don't mean to laugh.
Obi said, like, watch this thing go to 200. We then went past 200. And then it was just like, okay, after that, as soon as we reached the peak in this name, it's now had a 91% haircut. So hopefully you weren't buying Newsmax all the way up at the high and we're just scalping it throughout the day when it was trading into those levels. And if you had the ability to short it, I hope you were shorting it as well, because that's not something that I would want to be participating in here, Sharif, and that is Newsmax.
Well, your boy Marcos Morales made $700 on Newsmax, so get it, man. Pumped for you, my man. Look, man, you know how these ones work. They're around for a good time, not necessarily a long time. I'm not saying Newsmax is going to be trash from now on. I told you, look, they're looking at not replacing, but looking at being kind of a Fox News situation. Not too many of those. I mean, you have the Daily Wire online, but you don't have a linear conservative news network other than Fox News. I think in the States, I could be wrong. We don't have one in North America, in Canada. We used to have a channel called Sun News. It was like after the Sun newspaper, which is a conservative newspaper. That's gone. It's been gone for almost a decade. So
Has it? Wow.
It's been a hot minute.
Since Sun, really?
Say that again, Adara?
The Sun?
No, not the Sun newspaper, Adara. The Sun News channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought the newspaper. I thought you were saying the newspaper.
We still have the newspaper.
Yeah, I was gonna say we still got the newspaper.
Of course, the newspaper's still here.
Flip to the back of it, and you can.
There's old page what? What was that? Page 3, Katina Man? Is it 2 or 3?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You got to flip to the back of it there to see what's going on the.
All the Canadians will know exactly what we're talking about there, but it's all good.
There we go.
Yeah. That's it's a good look. Joseph, We did it again, baby. Your boy PRTG is the gift that keeps on giving and giving, then it taketh away. So be careful, you stops. This is a good look right now. Went long 15s, wet the beak all the way up to 15 and 2/3. That was the second trade. We're gonna keep getting this one on pullbacks. This one, I gotta tell you the truth though, PRTG, not respectful of the volume weighted average price. So I'm much less hesitant to wanna base anything off VWAP on PRTG than I would on other small cap gappers. The reason is it blew through it. I'm talking about that candle that manifested at 1220, then the 25 and 30 candle all below VWAP, then it retraced above it. So it's not like I want to pick something up off VWAP on a dip trade. That's not going to be my move. It's going to be a micro pullback trade on the breakout. What does that mean? That means when it gets crazy and it starts taking out levels, like right now it's got a high day 1582, okay? Let's say it takes out 16. Then it gets very aggressive on the book, and you can always see, you can always see that on the time and sales, because the time and sales will just be churning super heavy. Like look how calm the time and sales is now. You're getting a couple of prints maybe every few seconds. When this one gets going, when it really starts breaking out, the time and sales just like is flooding, kind of like what you just saw there, but continuously. And so when you're in that sort of breakout, what I'm looking for is a pullback, a micro pullback, which sounds exactly like the name denotes. Say we're trading at like, say 1550, it drops into 15.25 for like a second or two. That's where I'm buying it out for the continuation above 16. That's the look here I'm gonna do on PRTG. I won't be picking it up off the volume weighted average price. It hasn't respected it as a dip trade before. Why would it respect it now? So that's my thinking right now on PRTG. We'll have to wait and see how this cookie crumbles. Simultaneously, we're taking prints here on your friend Hertz as it continues to put in those higher lows. This one looks to be possibly an ascending wedge. We've seen this story before where we kind of look like we're moving sideways, only on a further inspection or a closer review, we see that all the lows a little bit higher than their predecessor. That's not the case though for the area high. The area high is 910. And it's been that way since we lost 910 at around 1140. So over an hour now of using that $9.10 level on HTZ or HTZ for my Canadians as a level of resistance. So you can notice where I put my beak wetter at 18s and then 42. I think this resolves as an ascending wedge and what we colloquially call here a flat top break. So we'll see exactly how this cookie crumbles. And then last but not least, the other trade that I'm involved in here, THSA. Shout out to Tisha. We're long, we were long at 70s. We did fat finger over here, got back in because I wasn't going to let this one get me out of the trade. I've been waiting at 80s for a long time, and that is the high of the day right now on TSHA. It's $1.80. However, it didn't cross, hence we didn't get the print. So I'm packing my patience here on THSA, looking for that $1.80 break and take, and then we'll see exactly what the situation is. Let's go back to PRTG, because this one's zigging and zagging. It just came into 14.5, found a bid here at 14.5. Now it's awfully spready. So if you're gonna trade this one, get ready to account for the spread. And I would make a submission to you guys. I mean, personally, if I'm trying to punch in like instantaneously once it gets to that price level, Katina, man, it doesn't have me. It won't fill me because of the spread. So use your resting profit takers. If you want to print at 15, send an order out at 15. Let it hang out there. That way, number one, you're first, I don't want to say you're first, but you're ahead in priority for the fill orders. Number two, if it doesn't spend that much time there, just wicks into 15 super quick, drops back down, you've got a resting order you can take the print with. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. I'm talking about PRTG. It's up 62%, but a very spready name for a small cap gapper, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there, guys. Okay, so price really starting to compress here in IBIT, and we're holding on to this position until we crack through the volume weighted average price, but you can see that the momentum to the downside is slowly starting to pick up. So looking for the breakup here in this name. If we can get it, we want to see that volume start to pick up here on the lower time frame. So that's something that we're going to need in order for us to continue to sit in this trade, and then hopefully we can get an add here on the position for that test of the high day, and then maybe we can exceed that as well. take a look at the chain. I know there's nothing crazy. I mentioned 52, and we're already north of 51 here, which had the most, the highest level of OI, 33,000 open contracts, sorry. But then we got 14,000 at 52 as well. So what was the high? 52.20. So we exceeded that. So we can most definitely continue to climb as hedge funds start to hedge against their position here, because you are now on the other side of that wall. So here we go. Going to be a little bit patient on this one, but NVDA. What a grinder this one was today. This is not fun to sit in if you're trading, and especially how you see the overall market is moving, and you got to sit through this here. So these pullbacks are extremely deep, and then you get the move higher, and then you get that pullback again. So not the best. You've seen that I was in this here earlier on the day, guys. Throughout this channel that we were trading to the top side, we got out here, and then as soon as we cracked it to the downside, we just got out of the position and said see you later. So that was that on NVDA, and hopefully we can get this Bitcoin roll and go for 2 for 2 round on the day. But nice little trade here on NVDA. We'll go over it here one more time, and you can see that entered here, started to partial out, and then we get that pullback, and then that's exactly when we add back into the position and then continue on the climb higher here in this name. So really good luck. Only up 2.25 though, Sharif. When we have the likes of Meta trading significant, much higher, I shouldn't say significantly higher, but 3.5%, and then Amazon we're up about 4%. Now even more, closer to 5% here on the day. Amazon continuing to move. I wish I got back into this name after that one position, but that's okay. I'll be patient. I did believe that they're going to be really hurt by these tariffs, and you can see that reflected in the stock's price action. And then now with the likes of Meta having that antitrust going on still, like Sharif said, about a week and a half into that trial. So yeah, I mean, the tech names are getting a rebound, but when these headlines come out that negotiations are going well, then that's going to be a positive sign for the market. And I do believe that we can most definitely rebound. We just need those headlines to continue to flow in and that positive news to be confirmed, and then I think we can start to recover. But Meta's still down 35% off of those all-time highs.
Joseph. Yeah. That's an ugly look. Adira, you didn't get any information on any new trial tidbits, did you? Any new trial tidbits from the Meta case? Anything new on that? Yeah, neither have I. Okay, just thought I'd check in with you. Yeah, nothing, we were doing like an informal segment of what happened in the Meta trial today, but I haven't gotten any information.
Oh, yeah.
I think Zuck has done his testimony.
What was our segment? What's up with Zuck?
Yeah, what's up with Zuck? I know, right? He's not happy right now, probably. I don't think he's loving life at the moment. I think the next big testimony will be Sheryl Sandberg, the former chief operating officer, known lovingly, obviously, within the company as the only adult in the room back when Meta was being run by a couple of, or not a couple, but younger kids, and she was like the only adult, literally, in the room. She's no longer with the company. I believe she either left late 23 or early 24, but she's still obviously being questioned about the acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp, which are in focus here. Separately, according to the Wall Street Journal, Meta could be facing $7 billion, I think Adira did report this already, in lost revenue from China. Even though they don't operate in China, Chinese companies use Meta to advertise to, well, Americans, Canadians like ourselves, to sell their products. And with this new tariff beef and the escalation of the hostilities between China and the United States, looks like as if maybe some of the sellers or advertisers won't be advertising on Meta's platform, which will be possibly $7 billion. I think this research firm Moffett-Nathanson was the one who dropped this little tidbit over here. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But it's been a tough couple of weeks for Meta, man. Nothing really that they did lately. Obviously, you could say, well, look, they purchased those bad boys in contravention of the law. I'm talking about WhatsApp and Instagram. I'm talking about lately, though. They haven't misstepped lately, but you wouldn't be able to tell that by looking at their stock price, because it's been tough. All right, let's look at the trades that we've currently got on. HTZ continuing to put in higher lows. Guys, the chart below that 910, but above 9. I'm still packing my patience. I'm of the opinion this will be an ascending wedge breakout above that 910 area. We'll have to see how this cookie crumbles. TSHA dropping back again after dancing with 180 for a hot minute. I'm an adder here on TSHA like I've been doing. This dips into the volume weighted average price. I'm an adder at around 171, 172. So let's go ahead and throw in that order right now. We're going to throw in a 172 dip buy, and come what may, Adara is at the big desk.
Yeah, we're going to talk here a little bit about Caroline Leavitt. She is set to take the podium here at the White House press conference. She has not spoken yet, but be aware, she can, so this is just metal, pull up NASDAQ. She can move the market sometimes with her comments. We know that Scott Bessent, reportedly, according to Bloomberg, made some comments about trying to de-escalate with China. The negotiations had not yet start. Excuse me. We'll have to see if anyone asks about that, because that did move the market. And that commentary with regards to China and the U.S., especially the lack of negotiations, could be on watch. Again, she has not taken the podium yet, but be aware, Caroline Leavitt, at any moment now, we're expecting her, and the stream is live. Back to you.
Let's have a look at the Mag 7. I've literally said nothing about them today for the exception of Meta. So let's have a look at the charts and see what's moving. So Meta's having a fantastic day. So let me tell you, Meta's my biggest loser. Okay, I tried to short at 494. Okay, I thought this was going to be an area of resistance. I felt, there wasn't enough good of a catalyst. So I took one Mag 7 long or one Mag 7 trade, and it ends up being my biggest loser on the day, and I didn't touch them since then. But I'm quite happy that I got out there. So I lost, I think, about 50, 60 pennies on it, but it continued to move up $12. So I don't feel too bad about that. Meta, very strong on the day. Tough lately, though. As you can see, there's nary a chart on the Mag 7 names over here that doesn't look good. They're all up and to the right without exception. They're all mid-single digits right now. Let's go with the biggest winner on the day in Mag 7 world. That title goes to TSLA, up 6%, again ahead of earnings, guys, so make sure to catch that with us on the market recap. We're going to have that to you. 6% right now, TSLA, a little bit off the high, so I could have told you it was up almost $2 higher than where it is right now, so this one's definitely a bit stronger than it currently is. Second place right now, it's not a Mag 7 name, but NFLX, up at $1,054. It's up 6 2/3% right now. Fantastic look. With respect to Mag 7s, Amazon going to take second place after Tesla. 4 2/3 here for the Zon. It looks like it is defending that 175 level after working up into 176.78. It's a 1, 2, 3 candle hold up right now with the closing prints all being above that 175. Keep your eye out on that. I think that there is support certainly between 174.5 and 174 owing to this area crest initially. We'll have to see if it gives up the ghost at 175. The dead one, Apple. It's above 200 finally. Joseph was telling me that there is a bit of a put wall at 210 to be expected there. You're going to see that at every $10 level. 200, there'll be a big wall. 10, 20, you guys get it. You can check the thing if you want, but AAPL doing decent over here at about 201 with 201.59 high. As I mentioned already, Tesla very strong. Google and Microsoft very close to highs, but 2 1/5, 2 2/3% winner on the day, underperforming the market, which is the NQ June contract. We're over 3%, having rejected 18,500. We did get up to 18,514, dropped back down to about 425, and here we are again at 475. We're putting in higher lows and higher highs in the market, so it looks like we could be curling up here. Let's see if we can make another attempt at 18,500. I'm talking about the NQ June contract, the futures that we chart. I know a lot of people do the ES. I keep my eye on the NQ because of its relevance with Mag 7. I want to say the weakest one on the day, which I don't know if this is accurate or not, it's between Microsoft and NVIDIA. NVIDIA is south of 100, okay? Which in and of itself is not a good look. In addition to that, it's also only up 2.47%. So Microsoft's the weakest, with NVIDIA being the second weakest on the day. It has had, though, Joseph, I don't know, man, if this is, you can call this support over here at VWAP, because it does wick below VWAP quite aggressively, but the closing prints all in and around that volume-weighted average price. Joseph, I'm out of the money here on my sim trade. I'm long 107.86 we got 100 shares here of NVIDIA.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have to pay.
Oh, you're bag holding like your
Bag
boy.
holding on
like
the
your
sim,
boy,
baby.
Like your boy.
I think we did it that day to
Good.
show exactly how to use stop orders. Or
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
did you?
I'm
yeah,
like, I'm just
yeah,
gonna leave this in.
Yeah,
there.
just
Let's
let
see
it
if we can
ride,
make any
man.
money.
That's exactly where I'm riding it. Riding it. So
Riding dirty?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it dirty. What's up, Obi?
Where's he at?
He's behind it.
Oh.
Yo, what's up, broski?
Thanks for filling in yesterday, Ob. How'd it go? Good, bro. Yeah.
Would you trade? Would you? Oh, bang.
Insane. Ob's talking about gold, all-time high inflows. Even though we hit all-time highs, like from a numerical sense, you know that we're inflation adjusted back in 1980. That's still all-time highs. Inflation adjusted, $850, Ob. Wild.
Would you trade
It's a
today?
wild world.
Would you trade
Oh, boy.
today? Ooh.
Verizon, earnings winner.
Ooh.
Tesla.
My guy.
There it is.
There you go.
Adara says, get it, Obi. So, yeah, I hope Obi gets it. And
Come on,
he continues
come
to
on,
get it.
Sheree. Oh, whoa, what's going on here? Something is absolutely
your friend
happening.
Carolyn Levitt probably moving the market as she typically does. She's not talking yet, Adara says, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. As soon as it does break, we will send you to Adara. Okay, we're sending you to Adara.
The only thing I am seeing is this Politico article that just came out saying that the U.S. is, quote, close to get Japan and India tariff agreements. Apparently, they're closing in on agreements with both countries, but they're likely to leave a lot of these details to be hashed out at a later date. We heard some reports yesterday suggesting that the biggest issue with regards to Japan with making deals is that the U.S. was not really saying exactly what they were looking for. Looks like that's still continuing to happen. Reportedly, according to Politico, Japan and India tariff agreements are almost here, but there's actually still not a lot of details within these agreements, guys. Back to you.
Joseph, there was also a 2-year note auction. Thank you to Brendo for bringing that to our attention. That dropped at 1 o'clock, so we're 9 minutes deep, but we know that the auctions always take a little bit of time to get responded to them. So I'm looking here at the actual. So the previous print on the auction, 3.984. This time around, 3.795, but the comparison should be to what the yield was before the auction. And now I'm looking at my 2-year, it's 3.810. So it's a little bit above the actual 3.7. So we'll have to wait and see how this is all received. But yeah, the auctions have been a little bit light lately. And that's because somebody, I don't know who, China, isn't buying as much as they used to. In fact, they're on the market selling. Well, why would they want to do that, Joseph? Well, you know, they want to strengthen their bargaining hand with the United States. So if they can bring down the actual price of the bond, the yield rates go up. They're inversely correlated. What happens when the yields go up? That means the U.S. has to fork over more money for their interest payments, especially for the shorter dated treasuries. That hurts their balance sheet, obviously, and strengthens China's hand. Adara, tell us about the auction.
Yeah, I do have all the details here. So we actually got a print for that 2-year note, 3.795% versus the previous of 3.984%. So that is what's happening there. Also, more details from that Politico report. They're saying it might take months to reach final trade deals because they're still working on memorandums for future deals. So again, we did get this report from Politico suggesting that the U.S. was close to having deals on Japan and India, but the details were not necessarily ironed out. Apparently, it's going to actually take months, according to this report, to finalize these deals. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. It was not only China, says Marcos Morales. You're not wrong, my friend. Japan was selling. We're going to have to wait and see if the Saudis want to buy. The Saudis got a lot of money. But are they going to pick up the balance from what China's selling and what Japan are selling, by the way? I didn't even ask Brendo about the F1 thing. What's going on over there? How was the Saudi F1 thing? Terrible. So Brendo says terrible. Because I know that they were doing it on the weekend. I think it was their first one. I'm not sure if it was. No, it's not their first one. Get it, Katina Man. What's going on there? Tell us the trade so we can tell everybody. The Katina Man short AMD at 87, guys. It's one of the weakest chip names in the market today, having caught a downgrade from Bernstein. It and Intel both caught that downgrade. Intel far outperforming AMD on the day, up 3.5. AMD's less than 1. Katina Man short $87, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there. All right, I'm ready for the playmaker pool. We got to fill this out here, Sharif.
Okay.
Let's get that in. I'm going to hop out of this IBIT trade here. Yeah, that's it.
We're doing it live?
This level, we're doing it live, so we'll give it a little bit more room here. Breaking news with Adara. We'll get back and fill this in here, guys. We're going long.
More details coming through here with regards to the Scott Bessent comments. If you missed it at 12 p.m., the market popped when Scott Bessent reportedly said, oh, we think that hopefully we'll get some de-escalation with regards to the situation in China. Further adding that basically with China, it was becoming a really tense situation. No one wanted it. He said there will be de-escalations. That was reported by Bloomberg because it was a closed-door meeting. Well, now Reuters is reporting more comments from this closed-door meeting, and actually apparently some other people are telling Reuters some details that the initial report left out. So apparently Scott Bessent described the negotiations as a slog, saying that when they negotiate with China, which they haven't yet, it's going to be a slog, and described the current bilateral trade situation as an embargo. So the market not responding well to these pessimistic comments, I guess, coming from Scott Bessent. Again, the earlier comments we heard from this closed-door investor meeting were much more optimistic. Guys, back to you.
Adara, thank you for that. I want to read John's comments. Sharif, it's not just about the U.S. debt, you schmuck, meaning me. He didn't say that, I'm just joking. I'm adding my own little. We need interest rates to come down to save the commercial real estate market so that all the COVID-era commercial loans can do their 5-year refinance. That was a concern. John, you're absolutely right. We had been talking about that. Let's just go into a little bit more detail. So commercial real estate, a little bit different than residential. It's got A, B, and C grade, okay? Let's just take it that for at face value. So apparently, the A grade commercial real estate not having trouble with tenancy. They're full up. And what A grade is, those newer buildings, the ones with the more advanced features, more advanced systems, not the older buildings that we've seen built in the 60s and 70s. Those are what we call B and C. And those were having a lot of trouble recruiting or soliciting tenants. A, not so much. So we had an entire sector of the commercial real estate market with high open tenancies, I should say, high open tenancies, or vacancies. That's the word I'm looking for, high vacancy rate. And then with the A's, we didn't have so much. So the problem was, if you were a bag holder, if you were holding a mortgage on one of these B or C class commercial real estate properties, you're out of the money. You were upside down the loan. You probably had negative equity on it. Now, obviously, that hurts even more if interest rates are higher. So the way to get some relief to drop those rates. I think that's what John is talking about there. Shout out to him. Good comment, and thank you for bringing that to my attention, Joseph.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm just I was about to type something, but that's okay. Let's get this going.
I can cover while you type, bro.
No. Yeah, let's cover this here. Let's get this done here, and then we're gonna get right back into these markets. I told you guys headline sensitive, and that's just coming into play, right? You get one news thing, it's positive, and then now you get the dump here on the reaction. Katina Man is short AMD, so there you go. Good luck there. All right, Sharif, we are going long. From where we are currently sitting at, brother. Yeah, it's not going to be looking too good, but we'll take the long trade on the SPY. What are we sitting at?
We're sitting at 524.89. Get it, Katina Man.
524.89.
524.89.
All right,
and we're taking profits at 526.89.
26.89.
And then we're getting stopped out 523.89.
523.89. Perfect. That's it. That's all the data that we need, guys. Let's see if we can get this move to the top side. But it is not looking too good. That is for sure here, guys. So it is what it is as we continue to bleed to the downside. Let's take a look at AMD to see what Katina Man is up to as we go and head into some keys. So, I'm done. I told you, I'm done with the club. After that wedding, I will be appearing at no club anytime soon.
What happened, Joseph?
We had a time. We had an absolute time. There's no doubt about that.
Hold on. You can't just say something like that.
We had a time.
Oh, we had a time.
Yeah,
Don't ask any more questions.
That's
just
all
take it face value.
Just take it face value. We had an elite level time. Well, let's just say it's.
Hold on. Why would that dissuade you from going to the club if you had an elite level time?
Because of what happened, Joseph? The taxation of the time. It takes the recovery process it takes too long.
So there was dranking.
Yeah, we were drinking. Yeah, we most definitely. doing some drinking, and yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah,
Katina, man, bro, we're live. I love it, bro.
What do you say?
No, I can't repeat it.
No,
Don't
put
do
it in the chat,
Katina,
man. Let me see. I have to see it. Put it in there, Katina, man.
We're gonna get digged,
I can't
bro.
help
We're
you.
gonna get
I can't
digged.
help you if Bro. All right.
Katina man's on one today, bro.
Yeah, on one. Yeah. No, that's not it. That's not really party vibes.
And Neil,
though, I don't
Neil's
think,
chiming
man.
in. Neil,
what is
come on
Neil
now.
saying? What is Neil saying?
Look at that.
Incorrect.
That's
Neil,
some 80s stuff right there, bro.
Channeling his inner Wolf of Wall Street there with the Quaaludes there, I guess. So I don't know. I don't even think they make them anymore. So. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, no, it was a good time, and we're gonna definitely be taking a break, so there will be no clubbing for your boy anytime soon. And
That's okay. I can respect that. I thought something happened. You dropped another guy.
No,
you know,
no, man,
someone
you
caught
can't.
hands at the club.
No,
right?
You can't. No, it's a loving event, not a like. Let's get it really going.
Excuse me,
you know what I mean?
if I take it the wrong way, you like, yo, we had a sick time at the club. I'm not going to the club anymore. I'm like, what?
Yeah, because the damage, man, the damage that has been done. But let's see what it is.
Adair, are you hitting the club or what?
Not right now. Right now I'm listening to Caroline Leavitt, who is the White House press secretary. She's not saying much right now, but it is worth noting her prepared remarks have begun. We also got a little bit more context again on that Scott Bessent report. So Bloomberg reporting that Scott Bessent had made some comments about de-escalation in China. He's expecting that to happen, but he also added the negotiations haven't even started yet. Reuters are providing a little bit further of a view on his comments, saying that he actually also said that these negotiations are going to be a slog and that it could take 2 to 3 years to actually rebalance the Chinese economy towards consumption and the U.S. economy towards manufacturing, because he does not want to decouple these economies. He said that, he made that pretty clear in these comments. So again, one closed door, I guess, investor meeting held by JP Morgan led to two very different interpretations of Scott Bessent's comments at said meeting. Back to you.
Okay.
Interesting stuff.
Very,
Thank you,
very,
Adair.
very, very interesting. Yeah, let's see what we got going on. Nice short there from Sean himself. What are you short at there, Sean?
I'm short TQ at 45.
Okay. 87. Okay, so there you go. That is a face slapper, as my friend would like to say there. But let's see what we got going on with IBIT. It's still holding up heavy. So let's see if we can get this bounce, guys. We're going right back to Adara. I believe it's some more breaking news.
We have a drop here in pharma names. Here's Eli Lilly, Moderna also dropping. Caroline Leavitt said that it is a priority for Trump that we produce pharma in the U.S. So Trump really wants to emphasize this U.S. pharma production. He's discussed this previously with regards to a pharma tariff investigation. But either way, Lilly, Moderna, and other pharma names dropping and on watch here. Back to you.
Hold on. We sure? We going back or are we done? All right. I'm just making sure.
We can go back anytime.
Throwing us fades.
Yeah, throwing us fades there. But to NY, why does the market always dip when any Fed personnel talk? I told you, this is what we refer to as like a headline-sensitive market. And you can see anything that comes out positive or negative, the market's going to react to it. So here you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I added a little bit here on Hertz as it came back down into the volume-weighted average price. It's going to have to hold up here. We've got a couple of outs on this left. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get that one at 9.18, but it's given me an opportunity right now. So anything below 8 3/4, we are done this trade. I'm also interested in adding possibly here on TSHA. In fact, I already have the order out there at 172, so I'll have to see if that one gets triggered. Trading today for tomorrow. I'm just playing, man. Come on now. You know I'm just playing. Here we go. TSHA coming down into 172s on the bid, however, not crossing yet on the ask. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. Looking at reloading here on some of these small cap gappers, if they are to have me. I'm also obviously keeping an eye on PRTG because that was the best looking of the bunch, at least during the midday. It's this one right here, right at that critical area of the volume weighted average price at around 13 2/3. But as I mentioned earlier, this one has not respected the volume weighted average price in a strict sense like we've seen with some of these others. So this is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red candle setup on the 5 minute. This one over here, This green candle, I'm not counting that as a green candle. So this is definitely an 8 candle setup. It's losing 13.5. It's losing the 20 exponential. Let's see if it holds up at 13. I won't be long at 13. It'll have to be above VWAP, and it'll have to make a new candle, a new 5-minute candle, I should say, to make a new high. That's what I'm looking for there, Adara.
No.
Oh, it's you?
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
my
it's your
bad.
boy Joe here. But Sharif, check this out. In sports play, it's sports playing. Flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like the financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our own mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back of up to 300 big ones right there, guys. $300 on ProfitX. You see Neil and Sean using it all the time, creating their
All the
online
time.
show. So very, very interesting stuff, guys. Go scan that QR code, check out ProfitX, and see if it's for you. And if you like it, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy navigating that platform. But let's go here in Bitcoin. We need to get this move up. By the way, we got stopped out of the Playmaker poll. Just like that.
Already,
Yeah. That was a quick one. In and out. See you later. See you later, Gator, on that front. But hold on, let's see if we can hold this 51 here on IBIT. Don't want to micromanage this whatsoever. I told you if we break the volume weighted average price, we'll get out of the trade. Or as a matter of fact, if we hold below this support level, then we're just going to get out, because if the market doesn't want to climb higher, then that is not a good look. But NVDA is absolutely waterfalling now, Sharif. Continuing to move lower and lower. You've seen that it wasn't participating with that move to the top side. We couldn't crack 100. Now you can see on these higher time frames, the 5-minute, once we rejected that 99 up there, 99.80 to be exact, we're now south of a point of that. So there you go, 98 and change on NVDA. Still positive on the session though, Sharif, up about 1.25 on the day, but not participating with the overall market. More of a choppy mess, but moving to the downside with the overall market, I should say, but to the top side, not necessarily getting that big move like some of the other big names.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Guys, I'm keeping an eye here on SXTC. So this one did hold VWAP a bit more strictly this time than it did on that initial drop over here when we got stopped out at 12 o'clock. It's still, though, below that 270 area high. So I'm quite hesitant to want to take anything right now while it's trading below that 270. So we could see that lower high pattern, and I want to be caught with that, holding this back down at 230. So let's see exactly what this one does. I would my preference on this one is we get a closing print on the 5-minute chart above $2.70. However, I will be getting into this one if there's enough time on the show and it drops back down into that 2 1/3. I'm talking about that 233, maybe a little bit 2 1/4, maybe even in the low 240s. I'm interested here on SXTC, topping till into 270. Not exactly a glowing endorsement for a long at the moment, but we're not getting in right now, Adair.
Just be aware here, Caroline Levitt talking trade, saying that apparently there's progress being made on trade deals. They have 18 proposals on paper from different countries, and apparently their team is meeting with 34 countries. People were asked, can you provide, I guess, any evidence of this progress? Basically, she just mentioned here that the progress is being made. Again, 18 deals reportedly on the table. She also mentioned the fact that we did have JD Vance visiting India yesterday for trade as well. So I guess reportedly some things are on the table. JD Vance actually did announce there's an outline on a trade deal with India, which Caroline Levitt saying is a big deal. Back to you.
So yeah, good look. Bitcoin holding up really well, and this is what we want to see. As the market starts to pull back, we didn't crack through any of those support levels yet, and you're getting a little bit of a pop to the top side. So buyers most definitely stepping in here. Let's see if we can break through some of these key levels. Let's go. Let's go here, Sharif. We need to break through. Let's go. We're starting to continue to climb here. Nice reaction, but got 2NY. This is what I'm referring to. Headline sensitive. You're going up, you're going down. We're going totally around, and we're going back to a dip.
We are, so we're going to talk about basically why we had this little bit of a pump here. Caroline Levitt was talking about the 90-day pause on tariffs. People said, Caroline, what do you expect to happen here with regards to this 90-day pause? Will it continue? Will it be renewed? And she said, you'll have to ask me that in 90 days. So she's really not provided any framework, but I guess that mentioned the 90-day pause sending the market to the upside. Furthermore, she did say that they're working at Trump speed to get these deals as fast as possible. She did not actually respond, though, as to whether there will be an extension. She just said, ask her again in July. Back to you.
Don't ask any questions right now, Joseph.
Don't ask any questions. But no, this is like what I mean. Like, guys, you gotta be careful. And we were having this conversation yesterday. Like, you can't be short some options right now because of look at what's going on. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. It's crazy, and they're too volatile, especially when you're writing, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Like, now we're going back down.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a wild one, bro. I told the Catena man was laughing when he came back from the walk. I'm like, look, Sean, we're up 3%. He's like, okay, good. We're going to close negative on the day. And I laughed. I looked at him like, in this kind of market, I wouldn't be surprised. So, expect anything, baby, and keep your eye on that VIX. And if you want to take advantage of that volatility, the consistent volatility we've been experiencing every day, Joseph. There is that VIX if you want. UVXY is a derivative. I know there's others as well. I forget which ones they are. UVXY is the only one that comes to mind at the moment. But yeah, you can trade it through options. You can trade it through like equities, because UVXY kind of you can punch in there regularly through like the way you would do with equities. So keep your eye on that, guys. And if you want, that's your cup of tea. You want to take advantage of the volatility, have at it. So we're still engaged in the small cap gappers right now. SXTC, I'm long this one at 77s. I'm looking for a print in the high 80s. That's going to be my first out for that one. It's having trouble really clearing that 80 penny area, but it's above that previous area high. So I know I punched in at the highs over here, but I do like the fact that it took out that area crest, and I will be looking to DCA if it comes into that 2.5. That $2.50 area. Adair's got more information, though, at the big desk.
Sorry for the repeated interruptions here. There's just so much news today in this very exciting trading session. Here's the NASDAQ pushing lower. Caroline Levitt was asked about China negotiations. She said that the ball is moving in the right direction on China. Not a lot of details provided there. She was also asked about Scott Bessent's comments there. Again, Scott Bessent reportedly commented on hoping to de-escalate with China. Caroline Levitt did not actually respond to these. She just said that Trump's comments on tariffs are what she's going to repeat there. So not a lot of response here on Scott Bessent, though, as I mentioned earlier, she was asked. Back to you.
So there you go, Sharif.
Come on, Caroline.
Sweet. Yeah, speaking of the Leafs, but this is what we're referring to when we take the stairs up and then just hop out the window on the way down. Like, here you go. You got a whole day of grinding from 10 a.m. Roughly, we'll call it to where we're currently sitting at. So 2.5 hours approximately right there. All of that just absolutely obliterated in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. So there you go. Stairs up, window out, and there it is. You can see that we continue to move to the downside. So I know a lot of people are getting frustrated in the chat. I can see it. Definitely know what the feeling's like, but again, just be prepared. It's just how it is, and I think it's going to be like that until some conclusions are made about these tariffs. So continue, be prepared for it. Either sit in no position, but when you see any form of Fed speaking here, let me pull up something real quick, Sharif. And again, this is what you got to check here, guys. This is what you got to do your due diligence in the morning here. So let's see what we got going on. And here you go. You can see from 9:30 a.m. you got some more Fed presidents talking 2:30, etc. So you got to check out everything from a macro standpoint. Otherwise, you're going to get caught in some of these volatility onslaughts, guys. So be prepared for when they do come out. Either be in no position or be prepared for it to go in the opposite direction of what you think it is going to go. That's it, man.
All right. SXTC, we got into it at 70, low 70s, wet the beak there in the mid 90s. Good looking trade. I'm looking at getting more if it does dip into that 75 penny area. The only reason I'm thinking 70 to 75 as a level of support is owing to this area crest that we rejected off and dropped back down into 230. So let's see which way this cookie crumbles. It could end up being a double top in and around $3. If it does, that obviously hurts me. But I'm looking for this to be a higher low situation with eventually a $3 break coming to fruition. So I'm hanging out in the mid 70s. It's already showing me low 80s, possibly getting a print here by the time we get back from Madeira.
Just be aware here, we have, not only do we have comments coming from Caroline Levitt, we also have a Washington Post report with regards to U.S. and Russia with regard to these negotiations in the Ukraine. Apparently, the U.S. has proposed recognizing Crimea as Russian with regards to their peace talks. That's one thing they're apparently proposing or playing with here. They also, these proposals reportedly include potentially lifting sanctions against Russia under a future accord. So some Russia negotiations and talks here, as reported by Washington Post. We know some of these geopolitical elements can move the market. So just be aware here, some negotiation talks here on the table with Russia, including the U.S. proposing recognizing Crimea as Russian and potentially lifting some of their sanctions against Russia. Back to you.
Yeah, that was an interesting one there. You felt like there was something was afoot with that war that hopefully were coming to an end. Then it got cold all of a sudden. I don't mean that in the literal sense because it's Russia.
Yep.
But yeah, and then, you know, Donald Trump talking, he's saying he's disappointed with Putin. Putin, you know, he wasn't as ready to make a deal as Donald thought he was. So we'll have to wait and see exactly. But yeah, getting less information about that situation there, Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharif, I got the expected move here pulled up on Tesla. We're definitely going to be talking about this, but let's see what Adara's up to, guys.
We have more word coming through here on the Russia-Ukraine negotiation situation. Financial Times reporting that Putin of Russia has offered to halt the invasion of Ukraine across the current front line as part of efforts to reach a peace deal with Trump. So Financial Times reporting that Putin is actually willing to stop the Ukraine invasion as part of these peace deal talks. Furthermore, Financial Times reporting that Putin has offered to, just halt these invasions on the current front line. So again, more potential talks here with regards to Russia and Ukraine. Also, Caroline Levitt was just asked about the Jerome Powell and Trump situation, in case you missed it. Jerome Powell has had, faced a lot of comments here from Donald Trump. Caroline Levitt said it's Trump's right to express his displeasure with the Fed. Back to you.
That one, smashing, man.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Get it, Neil.
Ooh. Oh.
The best part about that is that smile in the end, because that's who he is. That's who he really is there.
That's who we are.
Oh.
Doing it live.
Doing it live.
All right, Sharif, what do you...
He's doing it right now.
He's doing it right now. Sharif, what do you got for an EM here on
We
Tesla?
wanted to do this
10.2%.
live, but Adara was giving us news of the big desk, so we didn't get to do this live. SXTC, 2 trades in a row on this one. Very, very happy. Got long, 75, scalp, up into 95s, dipped back down, tested 80s. I was waiting at 72s, didn't get 72, so I chased it into 90s and scalped out at 310. Very happy with this trade. Disappointed that I didn't get the ad at my most ideal level. The reason I'm looking at 70 to 75, you don't gotta be a chartered market technician, despite what others tell you. At this $2.70 level, this was the area crest. The area that we moved up into, met resistance, dropped back down into that 2 1/3. Once that area clears, there's a reason why we were rejecting it in the first place.
What's the reason?
Once that, there's a seller, Joseph, or somebody was short.
What was the reason?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, so we take out that seller at 270, and then all hell breaks loose. Lo and behold, now we got a new high a day, right? 317. So let's watch now to see, does $3, now that we've cleared it by 17 pennies, does it want to act as support? Right now, I'll tell you, it hasn't done that. It's a little bit above 3, it's a little bit below 3. So right now, 3 is resistance, whatever they tell you. Now it's going to have to prove itself by showing multiple times that it comes back down into 3 after clearing it and holding at 3, or generally 3, like 2 mid-90s, 2 high 90s, and then bouncing back off. So I'm keeping my eye here on SXTC.
Good luck there, my friend. Okay, so David Treziak, sorry if I mispronounced that. There we go. This is what we're going to look at. This is what we want to see here on Tesla. Guys, what are we looking at for?
What are we looking at?
Potential expected move, about 10.2% in either direction here, guys. So that can put us at a possible high of around 260 and 212. That is nowhere near the high levels of open interest that we got going on there. So there you go. You can see that expected move on Tesla. For that earnings report, Sharif ad read. Okay, we got Sharif's ad read, but we also got Bitcoin starting to climb higher. What do you got going on, my friend?
New traders, listen up. First month, it's free. That's right, we're waiving the fees because you can trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to that elite experience where you'll be able to analyze, strategize, and then capitalize on their platform that has everything. It's got infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, and game-changing charts. You'll also be able to predict better with backtesting, and you get reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. And do not miss out, guys, seriously. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, you will scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen or click the link in the description. Shout out to the great folks at eSignal. Joseph,
shout out to them. And I was speaking of elevating, Shreve, here we go. Price in Bitcoin continuing to elevate here now, trading IBIT itself at 52. So there we go. A nice move there, guys. That's where we held on to the position. And Sharif, you know we added to the position as well, too, there, my guy. Once we had the inability to crack, so there we go. We got that volume to step in. That's exactly what we need to see. So let's continue to move now. 4.6% on the day is IBIT. Just adding a little bit of cash into it. Bitcoin is king, says Dragos. I like the name Dragos, first of all. And then Zin, my guy, you know we like those as well, too. So, a big shout out to those guys. Let's see if we can continue to climb here in Bitcoin. That will be a beautiful thing because you know I'm happy when Bitcoin starts to trade.
It's a beautiful thing.
Bitcoin.
There's never been better.
It's going to be the best.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be the best.
I had a story about that, but it's slipping my mind at the moment. I'll come back to it when I get
XRP, says Charles Zhang. All right, we got a little bit of XRP. I don't have too much, to be honest with you. I grabbed some on that previous pop on the news of that reserve. This was a while ago. I grabbed a little bit of XRP, and it just spiked in one day. But I still think I'm slightly out the money on that one. But maybe we'll grab a little bit of more XRP. I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. I'm going to be frank. The only thing that I care about is the king of all kings, and that is Bitcoin itself. So there we go.
I like it. Bitcoin's a good. It's a good one.
I would hope so.
I've heard about it.
Okay, yeah. So sorry, Ravi Fernandez says thoughts on Mara. I'm going to keep it very simple and frank with you. If you're looking for Bitcoin exposure, you go IBIT or the actual underlying itself. I don't necessarily. There we go. I appreciate that, TX Trader. I'll be myself. Okay, if you really want me to be myself, then I would not be buying into Mara or anything along those lines. If I want Bitcoin exposure, it's going to be via IBIT or actual Bitcoin in itself, the underlying asset. So that's going to be my exposure. So that's what that is. And no, let's pull it up here because enough talking. Let's actually look at what we got going on with Mara.
Okay.
And then I want you to ask yourself, do you want to be involved in this name? And if the answer is yes, then by all means, continue to do so. But ask if
I don't want to be anywhere near that.
You don't want to be anywhere near that. And I guarantee the majority of the people in the chat, like, why would I want to get anywhere involved in Mara for the long run? Can something happen where it's like, okay, these things go through the roof? Absolutely, but I believe that operating costs are just too expensive. As these computers and these mining rigs get better and better, it's just more expensive and more expensive, and I think that's going to chew into the margins absolutely here on Mara. But that's just why I avoid them at all costs. I would rather just have Bitcoin exposure, and there's multiple ways you can do that. And I'm not referring to buying to MicroStrategy or anything like that. There's direct exposure, and that's essentially what I would look for.
And don't forget, the SEC wants to change the rule. Where currently, if you own IBIT and you want to cash in on IBIT, the only way to cash is to get actual money. Like fiat.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to, at least in the future, or what the
transfer it into Bitcoin.
That's the bill that's floating around now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so, right?
So we'll have to see if they can do it. That'd be nice. But currently, it's just it's still an idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then there you go. You got coin as well too. But I think that's just an exchange. And I think as popularity grows and more people adapt Bitcoin if they decide to do, then coin can be a good play as well. But these cryptocurrencies, if you just want to rock with the best, then you're going to have to go with one that has proven itself time over time. And after X amount of years, that's going to be BTC in itself.
All right, we're back into SXTC. No, I fat fingered.
Oh, no.
No.
What'd you do?
I took all the shares out there, right? It was obviously a mistake. Let's get back in, though. Is this the right area to get back in? So we have a double bottom there at 275 with the current candle low. So I'm gonna look. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get in No, I don't think that this is the right look. Let me think here for a second. I'd like to get something obviously at around 275 because that's the area low. I don't think it comes down there. So let's go ahead and go to 280. I'm going to go to 82s and we'll hang out at 82. See if we can pick something up off there. I'm talking about SXTC. It's got resistance at 3. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme. It has several prints above $3 with the best print so far being 317. But it's really had trouble clearing 3. So what I did was I picked it up on the move down into the 90s and I wet the beak there at 96s. But I took everything out accidentally. So now I'm setting up in the low 80s. That low 80s is okay because it's still a higher low than the previous 2 candles if I get filled in the low 80s. That's what I'm saying. So if I get filled in the low 80s, fantastic. Now another way that I get into this trade is if we can make a 5-minute candle make a new high. So the previous 135 candle has a high there of about 311. So anything above 311, you can kind of see we rejected around there, gets me back into the trade. So we'll see exactly how this all works out. I'm keeping an eye on SXTC. Hertz is losing the bid. So it's time to get out of Hertz, and we're 10 pennies out of the money on the reload. So this is the end of the trade for me. Over here, it's below VWAP, and it's putting in lower lows and lower highs. What turned around on Hertz was that move down the market. We were about to take out that 920 level, and it was waiting at 920. And then all hell broke loose and we dropped back down. Now we're putting in lower lows and lower highs. So we'll give back a little bit here on HTZ. The one we're not giving back up on any is TSHA. Keep adding into the down moves, keep taking prints to the top side. So TSHA definitely slowed down in terms of volume though. I got to tell you the truth. This is holding up, I believe, because of technical support at VWAP. Whatever algo is executing on this is basing their trades or their entries on the volume weighted average price because we have nary a breach here of the volume weighted average price. Let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about TSHA, and this is the original holdup, a 5-candle holdup at VWAP. You get another 4-candle holdup at VWAP, and now we're on a 3-candle holdup. We'll see. Can we continue to hold up above the volume weighted average price, or has the market kind of taken a turn for the worse, affecting these small cap gappers? So that's my look right now. Not much else going on, but certainly interested here in getting back in on SXTC. It's continuing to zig and zag here in the low 90s. That 82 print still gone unfilled. It's still a resting order waiting there on the screen. We're neither above 3 nor below the prior candle low. So I'm really kind of in a state of I don't know what the hell to do at the moment, which is fine. You don't always have to be punching in or out of positions. You know, it's entirely reasonable to be sitting on your hands and waiting for the right setup. So I'm unsure which way this cookie is going to crumble, but it's certainly got sellers here south of 3. Let's see if it can take it out, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there, guys. We're going to it there here, guys.
We are going to meet. We're going to talk here about Caroline Leavitt. She has now left the podium here with regards to her White House press briefing, but her ending remarks were a little interesting. She said, "You may hear from President Trump later." So it's unclear what she means by that. It's unclear in what capacity we may hear from later, but be prepared, be on the lookout. President Trump, as teased there by Caroline Leavitt, could be making some kind of appearance later. We do know that he's set to be present at the swearing in of Paul Atkins, new chairman of the SEC, tonight at 4 p.m. Other than that, we'll have to wait and see if Caroline Leavitt's prophetic ending will actually have some follow through. Back to you.
So I was just going through Twitter here, or X as they call it, the kids call it now.
X.
You see Kanye posting on the weekend? What the hell is going on there?
What is wrong with that guy?
What is going on there?
The thing is, though, you can't.
I need answers.
Again, you can't believe a word he says, man. So
no, but he says them anyway, doesn't he?
He says them anyway. So.
Boy.
I don't know. It's.
Oh boy, Kanye, man, you are a next level kind of person, dude. I don't know. Look, I'm sure something's going on there, but I don't want to make him. I don't want to say anything too bad here. Obviously, it's some sort of condition he's going through there, but he is.
Yeah, he's.
Take the phone away from him. Maybe, and that's the thing. I don't think Elon wants to block him, though.
You know what he needs, though, dude?
What does he need?
He needs a conservatorship.
Yeah, like that Britney thing again?
Yeah, absolutely. Someone watch this, man.
Bro. Like reading it was just difficult for me. And then there's an entire song.
Yeah.
An entire song. Obviously, he's, getting everybody hyped up with that tweet for the
Hyped?
song.
Hyped?
Well, hyped is probably the wrong word. Informing them of the song.
Hyped is crazy. Hey, yo.
Yeah,
Someone
Kanye,
said,
Kanye
yeah.
is, he's out there, dude.
Hey,
he's
yo.
really out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he needs that thing. He needs that Britney Spears thing.
I see what you're saying, Nicole. I totally hear what you're saying there, Nicole. And like, yeah, she's talking about the mental health aspect of things, and I totally agree with that. But you know, it's just some of the stuff it's outlandish, whether or not there's mental health involved or not. It's just outlandish stuff.
And I think, like, obviously the media amplifies everything, but I think it's the same thing kind of going on with Jay Beebs too, our good guy from Stratford, Ontario. There, or Shakespeare. Jay Beebs.
Who's that? Oh,
Jay Bieber. Justin
oh
Bieber?
yeah. I saw videos of him on the weekend.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He looked like he was dancing against his will, like he was like being held hostage.
Well, I'll tell you,
it's
definitely not against his will. That is the influence of certain narcotics.
But he doesn't he have a condition as well, or is it that kind of? It's that kind of thing. I thought he had a condition.
I don't know, man.
But the Kanye thing, look, the Bieb things, it's not a good look, obviously. But the Kanye thing, geez.
Kanye, man.
Guy. Neil, Danielle wants to know, can you confirm from Neil if he took Baba 117 short sale? Absolutely not. He didn't touch it.
Bang.
Yeah, he didn't touch it because the market just wasn't jiving in that way. So to answer your question, Danielle Howaja, no, he did not. Daniel, so that's the look there. Yeah, and I don't want to get any ideas like we're having fun on Kanye's expense. It's not that at all. I'm a big Kanye fan, music fan, that is, and it pains me to see this whole thing unfold. But
after graduation, I could care less whatever music Kanye put out.
I liked 808 Heartbreak or whatever it was called there. Boom to the high side again on SXTC, man. This gift keeps on giving. All right, so we got long and we're doing it live here on SXTC. Put your resting orders out there. It spent all of a quarter second at that 321 area, and the high of the day is 322, and I got it at 321. And the only reason I got it there, not because I'm fast, I'm actually quite slow with my fingers, but there you go. I had a resting order and it took the print for me. So SXTC keeps on giving. Wow, look at that drop. Now it filled me to the boom, boom. All right, Joseph, take it over.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm about to post up here, guys, at 52.10s on IBIT. Let's see if we can catch that fill, Sharif. Because I think that could be a good target that we can aim for. That's going to be putting us at roughly close, not quite a new high day, but at some key levels right there at 52.10. That momentum to the top side is there, so we want to continue that. And with that, we're going to post up. So maybe we can just slowly lure the price there, even though my size is definitely not large enough in order to do so. But there we go. Nice post up there at 52.10s on IBIT. And here we go. We're starting to climb back up there. Is there enough demand at these levels? We're about to find out. The volume is slowly starting to kick off here on the lower time frame, so we need to keep an eye out on that. But man, oh man, does NVDA ever not? It's sucking today, bro. It's not doing too well. So not a good look here in NVDA. Down to about 1% on the session. So tough look. I see your average is 107 as well too in the sim, that is. But mine is in IRL is around that 107. So I would like to get a climb. I believe I'm just going to be holding onto this position a little bit longer than what I would like. But I'm going to be adding to. I don't want to buy it down here just yet, just in case there is some more downside. But one thing I will be doing is adding as we start to climb a little bit higher and higher. And then I'm going to be adding into IBIT as well too. So hopefully we can continue this move to the top side, this momentum, because I do believe it is strong. And I've seen some people in the chat, it's a solid hedge against some of this equity turmoil that we have going on. So yeah, we'll see. We tapped right into that there on IBIT, but we never caught that fill. You can see that price was really close. We traded to a 52.09 and I'm at 10. So looking for that fill. Do we have anything from an order book standpoint that says, hey, is there a lot of size up there? Not relatively. So we'll have to be patient, and you can see that we're running into some overhead resistance. So hopefully we just don't double top, because the market is most definitely heading to the downside, being led by the king of chips, and that is NVDA, which is unfortunate, because if we want to continue this climb higher, I best believe that we need I believe it's the third largest company, or is it Microsoft still behind it? So first or second or third largest company, we needed to participate in order for this market to recover. So yeah, 97.61 we're trading at, and looking like we're going to go and test those lows of days. Not very good here, guys. So yeah, tough look here on NVDA.
All right, guys, SXTC. So we got top wick, but I did add. Okay, so when this one dropped down to 80s, I got long at 82s. It ended up losing, so we give one back here on SXTC. So I added for that retracement into the 80 penny level, which I was front running the 10 exponential, and then it dropped. So we ended up losing exactly there, 12 pennies exactly from the entry to the out. So we got we got long 82s, 14 pennies, excuse me, and we got out 68. So we ended up losing a little bit there. Keep an eye out on this one. I don't think this one's done, quite frankly. It's above the volume weighted average price. In fact, right now, currently, the price action is above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife. I already tried that one. We're 0 for 1 on that. Now what we're going to wait and do to see, can this one start building itself to the high side by putting in higher highs and higher lows? If it doesn't, that's fine. We just won't trade it. Simple as that. SXTC, it's a #1 gapper right now in small cap gapper world, up 168%, but certainly off that 3 1/5 high, almost 3 1/4 high. PRTG looked awfully promising. We traded this one multiple times. Look at that. Quick as you like, guys. It ends up being all over for this trade. So this one lost VWAP at around 13 1/4, and then it found a little bit of support here in front of 13. I wouldn't have picked it up in front of 13, not because it's just an unlucky number, but it was below VWAP, almost 75 pennies, 80 pennies at that time, below the volume weighted average price. And there you go. This is what happens when you buy these bad boys below VWAP. They end up going down. Now the 11 1/4 low on this current candle, currently printing 1160. It looks like the best trade for this one is well behind it at the moment. The only one we're involved in is TSHA, waiting for that 75 penny break. I just went the beak there at 76 to get, or 75, excuse me, to get out. Now I'm waiting at 77s and then 80s and then 83s. But this one doesn't look like it's going to print anything above 80 on the day. If there's anything left here on the TSHA trade, it's a VWAP dip buy. That's really it. The only thing that's shown you on the day that it's going to repeat over and over is to find support at the volume weighted average price. Whether that continues into the afternoon during power hour when the big kahunas are on, an entirely different story, but it has held up on the 3 attempts where it's pulled back in the VWAP. All 3 have held up, and they haven't been just, one 5-minute candle at the volume weighted average price. No, it's gone a while. Like, look at this area hold up over here. This is from 10:35 to 11 o'clock. Held VWAP to a T. It did it again at 11:50 all the way to when it got away from it, 12:15. Again over here at 1:20 to 1:30. So this one's a little bit less. Yell at it, Joe.
I'm yelling at it, but yeah, come on, man. Just Phil. Like, no, it's still not getting it.
What happened?
I'm at 52.10s. We got into there, so
here it comes.
Yeah.
What's the spread
see.
on that bad boy right now?
The spread it's only a penny. Yeah, it's only a penny. All right, I guess I got to wait for the bid. Yeah, so we'll wait for that bid to come in here and see what's going on. So come on, keep lifting, and let's go and test that high day. We like Bitcoin. It's definitely one of the better plays. I think there's a little bit of a rotation going on there, and we are on the backside of this trend, which is also a positive note. So continuing to climb, the confidence is back in this underlying name here. So 4.8% on the session. Come on, bid, start to hit. There we go, and you've seen it live right there, guys. Show them what you got going on.
I want to show this because this is what Neil was asking me about today, and I didn't actually have an opportunity to look at this until right now. Look at this is my watch list, military defense. Look how red. The only exception, Palantir, and this LDOS thing, okay? But that's not really the point. The point is to show you, Joseph, you got NOC, Northrop Grumman, 14 3/4 in the red. Raytheon, RTX, down 10.5%. You've got as well Lockheed Martin, definitely not as bad, 0.25% in the red. You've got GD, General Dynamics, 3/4. LHX, L3 Harris Technologies. I saw this guy, the CEO of the LHX, on with Palantir on CNBC, and the guy just wanted to get the hell out of there because you know about how our friend, the haired one, goes off on a rant. Oh, he can go on multiple rants, and the guy was just like, oh my God. Right, well, you know, it's fine, right? Huntington Ingalls Industry, down 0.9. But as I mentioned, Palantir having a great day, despite whether or not military and defense is down. TXT, Textron Incorporated, down 0.12, and KTOS, Krastos Defense and Security, also down 0.25%. There's not too many areas that are just generally negative, guys. Like, look at this. As we go, most of these sectors are green, and then you get to military and defense, and it's markedly red. Like, you'll notice that, you know, in some sectors we'll have an item or two, a line or two that are actually red on the day. No, it's very, very clear. Defense stocks having a very, very bad day. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Jorge
days.
Bados dropping the absolute cash in the chat. $49.99. Super chat. Sharif, Joe, and Adara. Shawarma or whatever you guys want to eat, it's on me. I make more money on Trader TV. Thanks if I subscribe or pay to a scammer. Oh, man, thank you very much, brother. We're always going to give it to you real. Whether you're watching the big boys on the morning show or watching Joe and I, we're going to tell you if we're red or green. I'm going to tell you exactly what we think, not what we think you want us to say or what we think you want to hear. We're going to give it to you real. And thank you very, very much for that very generous super chat, Joseph.
Shawarma.
Shawarma. We got Shawarma Max across the road.
We got Shawarma, Max. Yeah,
Is it Max or Q? Q, bro. I'm so
but we'll
bad.
call it Max Q. Shawarma Q Max.
Yo, you know where that's from, right?
Fries. No.
When the rocket's taking off, Max Q is like the most pressure the rocket's going to face.
Okay,
They call it Max Q.
So there we go. It was meant to be. We're supposed to get those shawarma, but the fries across the street are fire. I'm not going to eat any
spicy.
No, nothing
Daryl will get
spicy.
very
But no, right across the street from us, we do got a fire shawarma spot, so thank you.
It's very nice, Jorge. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jorge.
Adara says thank you if you couldn't hear that.
And Adara says thank you. Katina Man says thank you. Neil says thank you. Brando says thank you. Everybody at Trader TV says thank you. But you know what's also thanking me, Shreve? iBit, because we are long and we're continuing to climb higher. So let's go. Good luck here. Knocking on the door of 5% on the day. This is what we want to see. I told you guys, and I'll say it again. When Bitcoin is, are you?
I'm actually back in the money.
Bang.
Believe it or not.
Let's go. Would you buy it at?
I told you, like 51 and change.
All right.
Like,
Dollar. Hey, hit the dollar club.
I don't know about that.
You're back in the money there. So
Crazy.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. And again, I love it when this thing is starting to climb higher because, you guys already know the situation. So good luck here in Bitcoin. And that's what we want to see. We want to see this thing climb higher, and we want to hit that 250,000 by the end of the year. If we hit that, that is going. I don't even know what I'm going to do, Shreve.
What
are you going to do if Bitcoin hits a 250,000?
I'm going to two-step on this desk, bro.
Two-step?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Wow.
I don't think I'm ever going to take profits on that, not for a long time.
Yeah?
The show's over because it's 2 o'clock, but before we send you to the Big Kahunas, we have to send you to Adara at the Big Desk who's got news. I'll see you guys soon.
Oh, another secret. Our guy Nimrod here. Thank you for that one. Hold on, we'll cover Nimrod quick. When small tickers lose view up, sometimes they keep raising to view up and rejected like WNW today, which I made some awesome trades on based the view up attraction rejection. You take on trading beneath view up or when it's legit.
Yeah, look, he's not wrong. You know, Nimrod, I don't want to say that it's not possible to take a small cap gap or long before view up. I would never say that. I'm just saying statistically, it is more likely that it will continue higher if it's trading above view up than if it's below. There's always seems to be bag holders there. That's why I have that rule, but not to dissuade you from taking them from the side. If you have a trading plan that works for you, have at it, baby. Kill it. I'm just talking about myself.
And there we go. We're all out of Bitcoin. Pull up my screen one last time before we send it back to Adara. That is exactly why we hold on to these positions until otherwise. So a nice, as my guy gets to me, face slapper.
See you guys.
It's worth knowing here, we do have Neil Kashkari, Fed's Kashkari, speaking right now. And right away, he is commenting, I guess, obliquely addressing some of these attacks on the Fed from President Donald Trump. Basically, what he said here was that he thinks independent policy leads to better economic outcomes and is foundational. So great comment there from Neil Kashkari. He also added that his own change from dove to hawk to current moderate just came from data analysis. So he's really emphasizing the Fed, they are not politically involved. They are going to analyze this data and they're going to do so independently. We have more comments coming through from Fed's Barkin at 2:30 p.m. But with that, we're going to send you back to the guys for the afternoon show.
Fed's barking, huh? Oh, welcome, guys. Yeah, I hope.